The college football experience week 2 preview and picks episode and draft on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100 times the amount of money you can enter in college football, UFL, NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, golf, and much, much more. Sign up today using the promo code TCE SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. Plus, the NFL draft is coming up, and the Old Fashioned Football Podcast is giving away some autographed NFL merch. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/off contest. That's OFF contest to enter today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome. Welcome to the college football experience. Week 2 preview and picks and draft episode. Yes, if you haven't listened to week 0 or week 1, those are out there. Get on over there and check them out. YouTube.com/the college experience. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, because we are live and we're back in the studio. I feel like, oh my God, it's a new feeling for me.
It's the first time we're in the studio for the 2024-25 season.
Unfucking believable. Folks, if you're, and shout out to the chat, they're already rocking. Timothy Green says, let's get ready for another great show. Amen. Get on over there. YouTube.com/the college experience. Shout out to everyone in the chat checking us out right now. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
It feels good to hear David Thompson yelling. All right. We got news. We got all types of crazy stuff going on. And then obviously we got a draft. Week 2 is fire, in my opinion. We're going to talk about it all. But first, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Well.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go, buddy.
It just hits different when I got these studio quality earphones on. The big mic in front of the face. Buddy!
I caught some of Ole Miss's spring game. They were doing bowling. The fuck is going on in college football? They didn't even play a game. Don't watch any of the spring games.
Wait, right? They're doing bowling?
Yeah, they were playing like a bunch of different stuff. Dodgeball.
You got a problem with bowling?
At Ole Miss, I do. At Ole Miss, I do. Now, if you were talking about the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, and the Wolfpack, all right, that'd be a little different. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. We are joined by third man in the booth. Give it up for the DFS god himself, the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on, guys?
Let's go.
Love it.
That is fantastic.
By the way, I love bowling. I think you can bowl anywhere. I mean, there's a little competition, drink some beer.
You a lawn bowler?
I've never done lawn bowling.
Well, that's what they were doing.
What's that other bowling where like the pins are like tall and skinny? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Duck pins where they're short, right?
No, I do not know what you're talking about.
There's
but
another form of bowling, but I like standard, classic, normal American bowling. All right. You got a problem with that?
Yeah.
Colby says Kingpin's his favorite fucking movie.
It is. That is
Favorite comedy.
hard to beat Kingpin ever. There's not much out there that can even be argued, in my opinion.
And yet he shits on SEC bowling.
I'll shit on SEC bowling.
He really hates the
I'll
SEC.
shit on the guy who gave us a 5-star review. Shout out to Onward to Victory. He gave us a 5-star review on iTunes, but
Wait, why are we?
He is
shitting on him?
completely inaccurate. He goes, "Did you look at Michigan's schedule last year? How's it any different from Notre Dame's schedule this year? These schedules are made years in advance." Well,
that is a nonsense
not true.
excuse. Yeah.
By the way, Miami, Florida rejected at Notre Dame this year. How is that possible? Don't they randomly select the ACC schools due to scheduling conflicts? That is why Army is on the schedule.
Hold on. Who rejected Miami?
Miami rejected Notre Dame, but I thought the ACC would just give you random seven games, right?
I thought that was like, well in advance, like 3 or 4 years. And I mean, I think with the Notre Dame series, they scheduled that one way out. I mean, I guess with all these new teams coming, they have to reconfigure like the Notre Dame 5 games a year against the ACC to make sure that everyone gets their chance at Notre Dame. But why would Miami reject that?
Well, to Colby's point though, like as an ACC team, if it's part of those 5 games, you can't reject it. You have to accept it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. There's no way they rejected it unless you were going with a non-con game. So I don't believe that to be accurate. And I actually believe he altered his comment. Now, I appreciate the 5 stars. I appreciate you listening, Onward to Victory. But originally it said, and Pick Dundee called for Colorado to be better than Notre Dame last year. And I'm like, what? No, I did not. I took the over on the Buffs. And I said they'd win between 4 and 5 games.
I loved his review, giving you a little shit. I like it.
I never said Colorado's gonna be better than Notre Dame. The fuck?
By the way, guys,
you honest.
Yeah,
it's called candle pin bowling. It's popular in the Northeast and Canada, and I don't like it.
You and your Michigan wife, right, would get into that kind of stuff.
Oh boy. We do have news though. I guess we can. Let's talk more trash too. Well, first off, no good news. The FCS National Championship no longer is going to be played directly against playoff NFL football or the playoff. I know the NFL died 2 weeks ago when they got rid of their kickoff and they got the hip drop tackle. So we had the funeral for the NFL folks. If you didn't catch it, it was a good run. They were sounding like Creed, for the past 15 years anyway. So now that they're dead, it's okay. The NFL used to be like Stones, Beatles. It was sounding like Creed the past 15 years, but they officially died when they did the hip drop tackle and made that illegal
and went with the
XFL kickoff. So we had our funeral for the NFL. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered this year anyway, but the FCS National Championship did move to a Monday, January 6th, which I think once again, like if I had known the NFL was going to die, I would have said just keep it on Sunday. But I guess it's a solo night, Monday Night Football.
Friday night. Friday night's the night to do it. I hate Monday night national champions.
I don't like it either.
No,
it's like
we were arguing this past year that it should be the lead up to the national championship.
I like that.
I think both games.
Well, that's on a Monday. That's what we were saying this past year.
I
think it's not Monday night.
We want it to be the lead up to the national championship on a Saturday. We want Saturday morning FCS National Championship.
Okay, like they were going Sunday at 11 a.m. This is still an improvement to me. I like to have the night
at least
to
it's
yourself.
prime time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now on the flip side, I think half of America argued that the time slot for the women's college basketball national championship was better than the men's on a Sunday afternoon versus a Monday night.
But
but I did find it hilarious.
Argued the opposite 1 second.
I know.
But it wasn't going up against NFL games, Patty.
Yeah,
that's true.
And another
the FCS is
another thing.
Little detail there.
Well, but I'm making the case since the NFL died that maybe it was fine on a Sunday. But I don't know. I mean, I could tell you that I think it's good now that it's on a Monday. But and by the way, a lot of people bitch about that. Someone, I forget whose Twitter account tweeted out a game, the national championship college basketball game from like 1987, and it was on a Monday night. And it's like they've been doing this for a long fucking time, so it's not random.
Doesn't mean we have to like it, especially
true.
like Weehawk says, no 9:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff or tip-offs or come on, man.
Yeah,
true.
Pretty ridiculous what they did with the college basketball national championship there.
Well,
will it be on prime time at least though, or will it
can
be
we
on
get rid of the Eastern time zone?
Right.
Like honestly, if I every time I think about potentially moving back to the East Coast, that's a big, horrible hiccup that is there that I think about, and I go, that's the worst time zone in America.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been to Hawaii. Maybe Hawaii is worse.
Unless you're a night owl, but if you're a normal human being having the national championship end at 1 a.m. not smart.
Well, just in general too. Like I like having a game on at 4:00. Yeah. You know, then you get a break at you can go, have your dinner and stuff. Like, sorry, I love the Pacific time zone. Dude. I just never wanted to go away.
9 a.m. kick. The
with
best
Hawaii though, like college football Saturdays would start at like 6 a.m. in Hawaii.
That's what I'm saying. That might be a little rough. You might have to pull an all-nighter by the beach, or maybe you go to sleep a little early. No, you're in Hawaii. You're zen. You go to sleep before.
Wait, but they always play like the midnight game. It's like,
I know.
So that's like, yeah. If you want to catch a Hawaii game on the East Coast, you literally have to be up at 3 to 6 a.m.
Look, if I could hit delete, when are we getting rid of time zones in general?
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Really? It's not picking up steam like the 16-team playoff? No?
It's not like daylight savings, all right?
I was on Reddit. And I was like, let's get rid of these time zones. All right? No wonder why no one responded. Well, yeah, anyway, I think that's good news moving forward. And then we had spring games. God damn, you see how many people showed up to the Ohio State spring game?
What was it, 80,000?
80,000. They spent $34 million on this year's roster. Woo. How's this not the NFL?
I mean, how many sports spend more than that?
The NFL died, I guess.
You got hockey, all the 4 major pro sports. I don't know if Major League Soccer spends that much money.
No way.
Maybe. I mean, some of them have some pretty big contracts.
How much money did LSU spend on their national championship team?
That's true. That was that was under the table though, so we'll
never know.
Yeah. That was they might have been like Reagan. They might have funded a war in Nicaragua.
That's right. Coming up with some interesting new ways to get NIL money here.
So Chip Kelly was interviewed and they asked him, why would you leave UCLA? And he goes, I just want to coach football. He's like, I didn't want to deal with all. Did you guys see this clip?
I didn't see it.
I thought it was pretty hilarious. He's like, I didn't want to deal with all the other stuff going on, administrative. He's like, I'm a football coach. I want to coach football. I thought that was pretty profound in today's day and age to have, to have the head coach at UCLA, which I know they haven't taken football as serious as they should have over the past 20 years. But there was they still produce a lot of damn pros, and especially historically.
And more importantly, they're in the same conference as the team he went to be the OC currently.
Yeah.
The Big Ten.
Yeah. Well, I kind of understand that actually, because I think that a lot of people don't know just how much bullshit the head coaching position is in terms of never actually coaching. Like all you are is like an administrator and a shield for your actual coaches. And so like if you actually just wanted to coach and you didn't want the ego of like having your name on it.
And if you go to Columbus, you could be a fucking king. Right. This is like Scarface. You bring that in New York City, you could be the fucking king. You know what I mean?
As an OC, yeah, you're still going to get a lot of love. Like, you
can walk around town. You could throw a woman off a 20-story balcony. You're gonna be fine, right?
Sometimes the restaurant manager wants to go back to being a bartender, right?
That is true. That is true. I was once bartending, and they offered me the management position, and I turned them down. And they were so confused by that.
First off, you could probably make more money bartending.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, I'm supposed to lock up the place every night?
Yeah.
You're asking me to be in charge of all this money?
I don't get any clout with the chicks.
What's going on? Anyway, I thought that was profound, but even more profound, we had and shout out to the UFL, which I host the UFL gambling podcast, but the UFL clearly doesn't pay attention to college football because they scheduled a Birmingham Stallions home game while 73,000 people went to Alabama spring game at the same exact time. You fucking morons. But one thing I did, Kalen DeBauer, new head coach of Alabama. One thing that I thought was pretty shocking to me is Nick Saban at the game in his suite watching the whole game. I thought personally, and this is why if I'm Kalen DeBauer, I wouldn't have took the job. I think that's a lot of even more pressure. Like, what are you doing, Saban? Being at the spring game, watching over the.
To compare, Coach K went to one Duke game in Shire's first year as head coach. It was towards the very end of the year. He purposely said, I need to step away and not be there because, you have to hand over the keys and you can't have that big of a shadow looming over everything.
Yeah, I think that's, like I said, I questioned the move. I know it sounds crazy to say, why would you not go to Alabama? That's won national championships pre-Saban. They've been a football institution even pre-Saban, but I just think you got to follow his shoes, and then you're going to have this guy in town, and the whole time he's going to be sitting there watching your spring game and stuff.
Here's the thing. I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think that, that is an interesting kind of thing to talk about because a smooth transition is pretty helpful. And, Bud Foster stayed around Virginia Tech. He was never the head man, but he's been helping out administratively. Urban Meyer's been helping out on campus at Ohio State.
No, but Bud Foster also recommended Brent Pry and stuff. Like,
yeah,
that they were connected.
Yeah.
Alabama did not hire a Saban guy.
Right.
That's what makes it awkward.
I would say, it's a little.
If Mel Tucker or Kirby Smart or whoever was there, Lane Kiffin, then it makes more sense because they've had this rapport.
Yeah.
But they didn't work together.
Yeah. That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like,
it's just like the dude that everyone wants to still be the coach is
like
just
the guy that they have a statue for. If they don't now, they will soon. Was over my shoulder watching me fucking dial up plays.
Yeah.
Doesn't Saban have anything better to do in retirement? I mean, shouldn't he be like?
He should be on a power boat down in the Key West pulling a Mike Leach.
Saban hasn't done anything but coach football 23 hours a day.
He did complain
for like the last 20 years.
He did shit his pants when Jerry Glanville picked him up. Jerry Glanville gave him his first job with the Houston Oilers. And, Jerry Glanville was a professional, is still, I believe, a professional driver, like NASCAR. He was doing NASCAR for a long time. And he's like, yeah, I picked him up from the airport and I got out to a good 120 on the freeway. And Saban was not the most thrilled.
I mean,
so you know what the job?
Shouldn't Saban be like at Congress, spewing some bullshit out of his mouth?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, my wife, she came to me. It was different this year, right?
My dynamic wife.
Yeah. It was different this year. She came to me and she came over and said, this year these players want money. It's the game of football is different. They want money this year. They're demanding money. Right? I thought they ordered blueberry pancakes. Turned out they ordered $100,000.
Nick Saban might
ultimate used car salesman with that.
The best poker face of anyone.
Oh my God.
To hold a straight face while fucking talking about they want money?
Yeah. Oh my God. And that's when I knew I had to leave the game. Sure.
Nick Saban could be president, and he'd probably be a pretty damn good president.
Oh man. I mean, I mean,
he'd win the South if he ran right now.
He's got to beat Tuberville. He never beat Tuberville.
That's true.
Tuberville got him.
Did Tuberville get him?
I don't know.
I think those were ships passing, but 7 in a row for Tuberville. Bring back Tuberville.
I mean, he's got the lying part down, so hey.
Yeah, he definitely does. And
no new taxes.
That's right. And I feel like he's got it down also by just watching over the shoulder of Kalen DeBauer. I feel like that could be that's some dirty political thing. You just sit there and say, yeah, you're going to pass this law. You watch over this bullshit.
Ready to stab
you in the back. He knows where the bodies are. I saw.
We're just taking shots at Nick Saban.
What? He deserves to be taking shots. Going in front of Congress, just talking out of his ass.
Yeah.
Anyway. I thought that was noteworthy news, and we also had the transfer portal open up. So I thought, reopen up the second time. Yeah, it reopened up, and I know this is so now when we're previewing all these teams or all the work that we did over the past 3 months, this is the way I feel about that.
And you know what? I'm jacked about another opportunity. I'm like, let's go now. I met with the team. There is no team.
That's John Calipari from his Arkansas press conference. But I feel like it fits for every single thing in the transfer portal. And I think some of the bigger names we saw is obviously Damian Martinez, Oregon State star running back, turned down $400,000 from Oregon State to enter the portal. There's rumors that Miami's going to be that team that's going to offer him a shit ton of money. I mean, did you see, by the way, that we found out how much Cristobal got paid last year? $23 million.
Wow. For what?
Woo!
What?
For not taking a knee and losing to Georgia Tech?
Wait, was some of that from Oregon? There's no way Miami.
It was a report today.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Nevin Shapiro still
I don't know
working behind the scenes.
They had that private school. You don't find out. I don't know how who found that out. I don't know. But we saw Damian Martinez. Maybe he ends up with the U. There's speculation there, and obviously
he's a stud.
Cormani McClain. If you haven't followed the Deion story, Cormani McClain didn't get on the field for a while last year because he was
locker room stuff.
Yeah, no, apparently classroom stuff. And Deion basically after his second classroom thing. This is, by the way, I did not see this one coming. Deion basically telling him to walk.
Really?
Because of the classroom shit.
Wow.
I did not see Deion as a classroom warrior here. Like saying, like, if you're not in school.
Yeah.
I did not see this.
Well, you
one
haven't
coming.
been following his Instagram. He put on blast on Instagram. He was reading the letters from the professors at Colorado about like specific players to the entire like in like an amphitheater. It was glorious.
No, I heard this too, and I heard this from some credible people that he has been an ass. Like he's been on their ass if they're not going to school, if they're not like at the administration of Colorado, which some of them are anti-football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I didn't see that coming necessarily. Like I was thrilled about the Deion hire. Now I'm like, what, we're doing what?
you know what the funny?
I want to win national championships. What the fuck we doing here?
The funny thing about Primetime saying that in one of those Instagram videos is he said your normal grades, and then he said he qualified it with, do you have a draft grade? And I'm pretty sure he did that because Deion Sanders was notorious for fucking not going to school his entire fall semester of his junior year before he went pro.
That was Bowden ball.
He just didn't go, and he was like, "Fuck it." By the time I fail, and I'll be ineligible, and the season will be fucking over. And so I think they made rules that you have to like, based on Deion Sanders, that you have to like be passing midway through the semester.
This is the #1 recruit in the nation a year ago. I was shocked that he's basically saying, "Get the fuck out of here, man. This is your second time fucking up in school. Go."
Yeah.
I mean, as a Colorado fan, I'm actually upset. I'm upset.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you respect it, but on the other hand, like we were coming down on like Michigan, for example, who due to their academic restrictions, they didn't bring in Caleb Love on the basketball front, and I think that some football players were out too, right? So
yeah, some football players were out, and you saw Purdue do this with was it David Bell? I think their top wide a couple years ago.
Right.
I mean,
Primetime's full of surprises.
What are we doing here? We're talking academic schmacademics. All right, football pays for your whole goddamn institution.
What's the dude that won the national championship at Ohio State? The quarterback,
Frenzel?
No, the big
Cardale
Jones.
Oh, okay.
Tweeted out, "I didn't come to school to what did he say? I don't play academics. I play football."
He also beat a kid in Madden or college football 110 to like 10. Right. It was like a Special Olympics kid.
That's right.
Fucking asshole.
Like that Chappelle Show skit.
Weehawk says, they paid football coach Mario Cristobal $22.7 million in 2022, including a $7.7 million in base pay and $14.9 million in other reportable compensation.
Interesting.
He has been. This is a Saban disciple again that has finagled his way into a lot of money for being. I think. Honestly, if I had to like power rank ACC coaches right now off the top of my head, I think he would be at the very bottom. Like him or Brent Key.
He's pretty low.
Key's got to prove it to me, but Key did a great first year, and he did beat Cristobal. He's 1-0 against Cristobal.
Hey, maybe he's got Kirk Cousins' agent or something. Who knows?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins needs. That is unbelievable. That's what I'm saying. The NFL died, but
Kirk Cousins is a walking business decision.
Oh my God.
Everything he's ever done is like, I don't actually care about
He's got like Bezos money.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Anyway, all right, let's get into this. Look, if you listened last week or years before, we do a drafting the top 30 games of each and every week. We already did week 0. Well, there wasn't 30 games week 0. There was only 7, if memory serves me correct. Week 1, we did our top 30, and now we're on week 2. And overall, before we jump into actually drafting, because NC Nick will be on the clock, then I'll be second, then Patty C will be third. What do you think of the overall week? I think this is much better than week 1. Nick?
Yes, as far as depth. Two big things against it is that, first off, just one weekday game. Weekday Nick is not happy where you just have one game Friday night.
They keep doing this bullshit, catering to the dead league.
I realize NFL
Yeah.
opens Thursday night, but still.
And Friday. They got a game.
Do they
stupid.
now?
The NFL sucks. They got their fucking game in Brazil, right? It's like, it's so stupid.
Is that the Thursday or Friday?
It's a Friday
opener?
night. Yeah.
But so once again, the first about 4 weeks of college football. Well, I guess you can't count week 1 because there are a decent amount of Thursday and Friday games. Not worse this year than last year, but weeks 2, 3, and 4, basically the whole month of September, there's hardly any weekday games, and I don't understand it. So that's my first beef. And my second beef with that is that while there's good depth in week 2, it's a little light up top.
Really?
I kind of agree. There's a couple good ones, but there's not like.
What was the first pick last week?
What was the first pick last week? That was Big Peak. Okay, but there was
Miami and Florida.
Well, okay,
5-7 team against a
it was a bad pick though. It's Patty C.
It was a great pick, but
well, I mean, Texas, Michigan were both in the playoffs.
Well, okay, that is a great one.
Last week there was Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame, A&M, LSU, USC. But I would say also last week for week 1, it was not as up top, wasn't as strong as previous years. Also,
I think this week is awesome. I think this might be my favorite week of the whole season.
Bold statement.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
I'd be lying if I said I analyzed all the weeks yet. I'm kind of doing it as we speak. Yeah.
Because I understand how the bastard thinks.
All right, where the hell is this this draft stuff here? I have some music here.
He felt like shit after.
No, sorry, that's not that one.
Nice.
No, it's not that one. Here it is. Here it is. All right, NC Nick.
Oh, geez, I wonder which game to pick here. Maybe I should go with two of the most premier, prestigious college football institutions in the country that were both in the playoffs a year ago. Texas at Michigan. It's SEC. It's versus the Big Ten, the Power 2. It's on campus. I mean, what's not to like? These are the games we need every year. Fantastic, fun matchup. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's the obvious one. Both teams were in the Invitational a year ago. They've only played once ever, and that was in 2005.
That was the Rose Bowl the year before. Texas won the Rose Bowl against USC the next year.
Yeah,
Vince Young's first glorious moment.
Isn't that crazy though? They've only played once ever, so you're getting that now. Is there potential for a blowout here though? Like Michigan's whole roster is turned over. They've already fired their defense coordinator that they hired because he caught a DUI. I mean,
they're not gonna get blown out at home.
No, okay.
I mean, the final score could be double digits, but it's not going to be, like a completely.
Look, I hope they win. I always root against Texas. Texas could be playing, pretty much any team in the world. And I think I would be going for
rooting against them. That doesn't mean you're going to be betting against them.
Texas Longhorns versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think that's the one where I think they're dead. Dallas Cowboys died. The NFL died. NC Nick. But right. I think I would have gone Texas actually to win.
But our network still does fabulous NFL draft coverage.
They do, even though the league's dead.
Nice plug.
Even though it's like just because the fish die doesn't mean they're not edible. All right.
There you go. Nice save there.
So there we go. Yeah, I mean, look, second all-time meeting. Patty C, what do you think of this game? Who wins, by the way?
You have to, I guess, lean Texas. I mean, Michigan presumably is going to take a pretty step back. Did they lose all 5 starting offensive linemen?
And they lost their starting running back, their starting quarterback.
Now Donovan Edwards does come back, and he was the star pretty much of the national championship game. One thing interesting is, if anything was Texas's strength, it was
defense
run defense, but Washington's strength was pass offense, obviously. And so Washington got the better of Texas's defense for most of that game. Texas made a nice comeback, but that game was that they dressed that score up a little.
Yeah, they did.
But Michigan might have been
the lead in that game.
Yeah,
Never.
they were getting worked.
Yeah.
But it was like, and Texas's weakness was the pass defense. So it kind of really worked in Washington's favor. Obviously, Michigan's been a power running team, and Texas, I think, led the nation in yards after contact defensively. They I think it was like 0.0 yards per contact on average somehow. So if Michigan's planning on breaking tackles and running the ball to predicate their offense, I think they're in bad shape, and I don't, with McCarthy gone, they have a shitty quarterback room coming in too, right?
Tuttle, isn't it Tuttle?
I don't know.
The old Utah quarterback that was an Indiana quarterback too. He's bounced around.
Yeah,
Who
they're
knows?
in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Texas goes on the road and gets that done.
Yeah, I think they will too. Look, shout out to Joey Garrett in the chat. And Back Bay saying he hates the Monday Night Championship. Joey Garrett also says, any opinion on the new ACC schools? My opinion is that SMU has a chance to compete this year and in the future, but I'm not sure about the West programs, especially with traveling. Well, I mean, I'm of the belief the ACC won't exist in a couple years.
That's not true. It may look a lot different, but
my point is, I don't think Stanford and Cal will be in the ACC in 10 years. I think they'll probably be back in the pack too.
We have no idea at this point. It's moving way faster than, it would be stupid to, if I had to bet, yes, I would bet they're not in the ACC.
And that's a long conversation for another podcast.
Yeah. But this year, SMU, I think they could be. Who do you think could be the best out of the three? I know we gotta go, but
get moving. I'm gonna say SMU. Were they 11-3 last year?
Cal could.
I kind of disagree. I think Cal and Stanford both might be better than SMU, just because the Pac-12 has been so strong last couple of years, and the AAC was not very strong last year.
Yeah, so I actually thought SMU was fool's gold last year. I think Cal is better than SMU.
I agree.
I think they're all probably pretty similar, but maybe you're right. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys were right on that.
All right, jumps over to me. Finally, pick what should be the number one game.
Do we have a graphic for this?
Oh yeah, we do. Jeez, I'm fucking this up, man. Just fucking this up, guys.
There we go.
YouTube.com/The College Experience. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Look at these sweet graphics for all these games we got out there on the board. Yeah, you know me. I almost don't want to play this because I hate it on week 2. This game should be Black Friday every fucking year. And I will, it's better than nothing, I'll say. But damn it, I enjoy this rivalry. It's part of my childhood. I want it on Black Friday.
Better than nothing. It's just not.
I want it on Black Friday. All right. They've been playing since the 1890s. All right, and that is Colorado, Nebraska, and look, Colorado's got a chance to make it 4 straight against the Cornhuskers. Last year got out of hand. They won 36-14, but the previous matchups, 34-31 in overtime, 33-28, which was a Laviska Shenault touchdown with 10 seconds left, I feel like, in Lincoln. So Colorado's got a chance to make it 4 straight against the Cornhuskers. I love this game. I like I said, and how about the Deion effect here? Deion, who do you favor in this game? You got Nebraska bringing in the number 1 recruit in the nation at the quarterback spot, Dylan Raiola, and then you got them spending a shit ton of money in the portal or NIL collective altogether. You got Colorado bringing back Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Who do you favor in this game?
Some stars, some star power. Lo and behold, just popped up in this game. At Nebraska.
Yeah.
I think that's a big advantage to Nebraska.
Yeah. I mean, that is, that place gets fucking lit. Nick, who'd you favor in this one?
I mean, that's tough. I mean, Colorado won 36-14 last year in Boulder, but Nebraska
Jeff Sims fumbled 5 times. I feel like,
Nebraska had the better record last year, 5-7, but they lost their last 4 games of the year. Meanwhile, Colorado lost their last 6 games of the year.
All I'm saying, you put Colorado in the Big Ten West, they would have won 9-3 last year.
That potentially. So, if I'm going to favor Colorado, it's going to be by 3 or 4, which I think was about the line that was last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean, look, it's a fantastic game here. I don't know if I'd have it at 2 just because of the records last year, but it's a great rivalry. We're all happy it's back on the schedule. And this one should be a lot of fun too, because it is year 2 for both coaches and expectations are high.
Yeah. And I know they don't play the year after. Why? Why not? Make it every year. All right. Patty, see your thoughts on it?
Glorious game. I think Nebraska is itching to get a little revenge against a team that once was kind of little brother and humiliated them last year. I don't know if the rivalry is all the way back up, but I do think the crowd will be lit. Packed house, obviously. Nebraska always sells out. And Colorado is going to have a lot of hype still, like they did last year at the beginning of the year. So it's going to be a fun game. I'm definitely going to be watching. But who's going to win? If it was a 4-point spread, I would favor Nebraska in Lincoln for sure. For sure.
Wait, if Colorado was favored by 4. Oh yeah, I'm with you. Okay.
Look out! Just watch him go down to Buffalo.
I'm sorry. I just get excited. It's like the season here. All right, Patty C, jump to you. Pick 3. Where are you going?
Well, in case you guys hadn't figured it out, Colby does kind of arrange the graphic on the screen in an order that approximates what we think the best games will be.
I was wondering if that's Colby's order or not. I don't think it is.
I mean, I would not put Duke Northwestern that high. But
should be higher.
In terms of like mainstream public, that's probably pretty close to what the public would vote as the top game.
That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
I see one glaring game that's missing from that first screen right there, which I can't believe is not on that screen. But anyway,
well, it might be okay. Yeah.
But anyway, Patty, it's your pick.
Well, assuming I'm not missing it, I'm looking at about 1,000 games right now. Trying to pick one, but I think Colby's nailed it. Iowa State at Iowa. Iowa State 7-6 last year. It's
Cyhawk.
A couple tough years for Matt Campbell, but they are always losing close games.
They won like 7 games last year.
Yeah,
when you consider, there are 30 players
Gamble Gate.
Yeah, I thought last year was probably his best coaching job of his career.
He did great last year.
Hold on, Patty. So was there a record in 7-6 last year, or is that your score prediction for this game? Which one?
That is a generous. I'm taking the under on that.
Look, last time they played in Iowa City, it was 10-7. Iowa State got the win.
There you go.
And that's certainly possible. No,
Iowa 10-4
Nick's
last year.
a hater on this rivalry, though.
A little bit.
That's what I'm saying. This is I don't understand it. He'll hype up Wake NC State, but this fucking game.
Let's Nick. Let's have a heart to heart. Big 12 Colby will leave out of this for just a second. Iowa State, are they a compelling brand of football?
Not necessarily.
At
the national level, no. I mean, like,
really?
I'm a big Matt Campbell fan.
Purdy was in the Super Bowl just how long ago before the NFL died?
It's true. It's true. It's a good point.
He's a great coach. Most years I go over on the Iowa State win total, but as far as Iowa State, Iowa, is it a great rivalry? Yes. Does it go back many years? Yes. Is it a fun brand of football to watch? That's debatable.
Here's the thing. Iowa, I find to be actually a little bit of a fun brand to watch.
Yeah, he's a hater. He hates Iowa football.
Well,
I've hated Big Ten West for a while.
See, it's not Iowa State he hates. He hates Iowa.
It's the character of Iowa. They're basically like the underdog. There's some extreme character.
They're like the only team still playing college football. Army, Navy, Iowa, and Air Force. Still, the only team still playing college football.
Yeah, Iowa's a phenomenal watch to me. You know, a 6-7 football game, and they blocked 2 punts. And
there was that South Dakota State win. They had a field goal and 2 safeties.
Yeah. I'll watch that all day.
100%.
Especially
100%. And their punters are awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're going to have a coffin corner at like the 1 yard line. Their defense, every play is almost a strip sack or a pick six.
Great crowd too. Great home environment.
Great crowd.
My question though, Iowa State, a little bit of just like, you have to be dialed in to appreciate them. You can't just like, okay, there's a team that usually loses close games. They're well coached.
I'd say he's kind of turned that corner though.
Well, no, I don't think he has. He did for a second.
They played for the Big 12 championship, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's lost a step in the last couple of years. He's obviously, the circumstances, explain that to a great extent. But either way, I think from a national standpoint, Iowa State at its best is phenomenal. Right now, it's to be the number 3 game of the week. But I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be fun. what I would like to see is Iowa State back up to full strength, Matt Campbell style. In that case, if that's the case, then this is a phenomenal game because Iowa State.
Dude, I think they're a legit contender to win the Big 12 this year.
And Iowa,
I think there's about 9 teams that are legit contenders to win the Big 12.
But I think if we were true, but I think if we were drafting them, Iowa State would be a top 3 pick. I think you would go Utah 1, Kansas State 2. I think Iowa State would be the 3rd option.
Ooh, that's tough.
I think Nick's right. There's like 9 that are all almost exactly the same. The whole conference has no elite team. But anyway, we digress. But I think it's going to be a fun game anyway.
No, it's awesome. They've been playing since 1894. The Cy-Hawk Trophy at stake. Don't listen to this NC Nick bullshit. This is college football, man. This is what we're supposed to get here. We're not supposed to get some bullshit cockanimi first time they ever played Michigan, Texas nonsense. Although I like it on the campus. On the campus, I do like it.
It is two like the best uniforms.
I'm just glad they didn't play that in fucking Indianapolis. That bullshit roller rink, Lucas Oil.
That's true.
Yeah.
In the big house, glorious.
All right, NC Nick, it jumps back to you. But before we do that, I want to tell the good people out there that the college football experience is brought to you by. Well, first, you're listening to the college football experience, and check out the Old Fashioned Football podcast. The NFL draft is right around the corner. The Old Fashioned podcast is giving away some autographed merch to celebrate. Yeah, JSN. Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, Frank Gore, and many more. Old Fashioned Football. Come for the football. Stay for the whiskey. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/off contest. That's OFF contest. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Play their fantasy pick'em. It's as simple as selecting higher or lower on a player's stats like points, rebounds, assists, and much, much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match across. This is what I love. Across your favorite sports. You can have, guy playing in the NHL mixed with the guy playing in the NBA. A lot of places don't give you that freedom. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter, and it's a ton of fun. And get this, Underdog's available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. All of Canada. Get on over there. Pull up underdogfantasy.com, folks. Get on over there. Look, they're picking they have a special right now going on for the Friday NBA play-in games on the 19th here, right before Big 420, smoking that weed, right? But you should go check it out because you want to sign up before then. All right, it's a fantastic special. So sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code TCE SGPN. All right. We are back on the college football experience. NC Nick, where are you going?
I'm taking you to Charlotte, North Carolina, the only non-campus game, neutral site game.
Disgusting. They should play this on campus. Both campuses are awesome.
True.
As far as fan turnout,
true.
Like, play this in Charlotte. Bullshit.
But it's still a very good game. NC State versus Tennessee. Both teams won 9 games last year. Hell, Heupel's won 27 games in 3 years. Tennessee is back. Can we say that? Can we say they're back as far
somewhat
as a legitimate?
Yes.
Somewhat.
Yes.
I think have fun in the new. No, they were benefits of the SEC East. Have fun in the new SEC.
They beat Alabama. They're back. They
needed everything to go right. Alabama to miss that field goal.
Meanwhile, NC State's been killing it in the portal. Grayson McCall, Jordan Waters, a running back from Duke, Noah Rogers, the receiver from Ohio State. Let me tell you, in Raleigh, there is a buzz around this NC State football team. Their spring game was the same Saturday leading up to their Final Four basketball game. So a lot of buzz around NC State athletics. And it should be a fantastic test here because usually this is a game that NC State and the ACC lose in these openers to the SEC. There's been some exceptions. I think UNC beat South Carolina last year, but in general, the SEC wins this game. So it's a big game.
Yeah. Look, I mean, do I think you drafted it too early? I do, but it's a big game. And what does NC State do? They lose big games. All right. This is going to be a defeat. And no, but it's intriguing. I just wish it was on campus. I hate these corporate NFL games. When's the last time they beat an SEC school? I'm just curious. Does anyone know when the last time they beat an SEC school? I'm trying to pull it up really quick.
NC State?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question.
That is a great question.
I'm looking at it right now. It was in 2016. They got Vandy.
That doesn't count.
Yeah.
That does really
Besides Vandy, they got NC State. What year was this? Or I'm sorry, NC State got South Carolina in '99.
But I also think it's fair. It's fair. Like, how many games have there been though?
Let's say they are if you take out the Vandy game, they are one win. They had lost 9. Their previous 9 matchups.
That's not a good stat.
Yeah. Including 3 of them against South Carolina. So South Carolina's 3-1 in their last 4. Ironically though, they haven't played Tennessee in a very long time. I don't even see this. Have they ever played Tennessee?
I don't know.
That's kind of, I know we just shit on games where they're playing for the first time, but kind of a matchup that's compelling because they are 2 pretty lit fan bases. North Carolina State, we all agree, is among the Power 5, probably the most lit fan base in North Carolina.
No, they played in 2012 and lost to Tennessee. Sorry.
Yeah, they played 3 times total. The first game, 1911, NC State won.
First game, 1893.
Oh, that's not
NC State won 12-6.
All right.
They're 2-2 all time. 1893. So I do dig going back to the roots here, but yeah, they've lost 2 straight. That one in 39, they lost 13-0. Remember that one, guys?
Oh yeah, that was classic.
I got that snuff film.
Wait.
Then they lost by 14 in 2012 at that bullshit Atlanta bullshit stadium. Yeah, I mean.
That's a fun game. Looking forward to this one big time.
Overdrafted this one.
That's a good
one.
That's a good pick.
I would much rather watch this game than Iowa State, Iowa.
What? No way. Neutral site games suck.
I mean, let me ask you this. Does this offer a compelling environment? I think you just said no to that.
Yes.
But B, an advantage to NC State that might make this game?
No, because Tennessee will travel.
And NC State's going to travel too. And it's about halfway between the two.
It'll be like 55-45 NC State, right? Because they probably have a bunch of NC State grads in Charlotte.
Tennessee travels a lot, though.
I think if the ticket allotment
might be 55-45 in Tennessee's favor. Yeah. But both fan bases are going to turn out, and I expect a pretty damn full stadium.
Weehawks saying NC State will be recovering from Western Carolina beating them in week 1. That's right. Go Cats.
I will say from a style of football, generally ACC, SEC produces athleticism on the field. Both. I don't know. NC State, I didn't follow to see if they maintain a pretty high octane offense. Obviously, Tennessee does still. So they will have a great, nighttime. If this is played at night, it'll be fun. Tennessee at night's fun.
That's still. I just think it was a little bit overdrafted, and I'll make my case right now. What should be drafted higher? I mean, these teams need to play more. Arkansas at Oklahoma State. The border battle, Patty C.
This one is not better than NC
It's way better. Way better. It's
2 games.
It's a lot better.
2 games.
Road Rash face now at Arkansas. So it's Road Rash face against Gundy, essentially. And the history of this, to me, this is just the fact it's on campus. Oklahoma State played in the Big 12 championship last year. When's the last time NC State played for the ACC championship? Who was president? Fucking Jimmy Carter.
I think they've never played for an ACC championship.
So they're never relevant. And Tennessee hasn't played for an SEC championship since goddamn Phil Fulmer. All right. So get this bullshit you're sprinkling out of here.
2 9-4 teams last year. What was Arkansas's record?
No, they weren't that great last year. They were 5-7. Yeah, 4-8 maybe. But they spent a shit ton of money. Brought in Bobby Petrino.
4-8 versus 10-4 Oklahoma State. Although, if we're being honest with ourselves, a 4-8 SEC team might be good enough to hang with the 10-4 Oklahoma State team.
Well, Arkansas, it's not that their season kind of went downhill. They had injuries. This year they bring in Taylor Green. They spend a bunch of money. Pittman.
Taylor Green's the Boise State quarterback.
Yeah. And it's a border battle. It's 2 rivals. To me, I almost feel like these 2 teams should be in the same conference.
Sure.
Like I feel like they're the like it's a great matchup to me.
Yeah.
The one thing you have going for you is that the game they played every year from like 1950 to 1980, and then there has been a very long break. So we always like to see teams like that getting back together. It feels like these teams should play more often, but
yes,
these teams don't have a whole lot of like sexiness. I mean, Arkansas, Oklahoma State.
Dude,
like
Oklahoma
okay,
State almost made the playoff 2 years ago. They were a yard away. What are you talking about?
I had this game further down.
I would argue this.
Now, look,
all day.
some of that is just my. I mean, if it's NC State, Tennessee, versus this game head to head, well, then I'm more. I live a whole lot closer to NC State and Tennessee, so just like personal feelings, I'm going to pick that game over. But in general, I had a lot of games over this game because it's kind of just like I don't know. It's kind of a strange matchup.
No, you're a Big 12 hater, and I think that's part of it. Oklahoma State, out of all four of the schools that we're talking about here, Oklahoma State has been the most relevant in college football over the past 20 years.
They've been better. Yes.
What? They've been way more relevant.
Tennessee football is still a big brand name.
Still
relevant.
Oklahoma
State's never
more relevant.
Oklahoma State's been way more relevant.
Yeah, I would agree with Colby.
They've been in how many top 10 of fucking? Remember the game they were going to play in the national championship, but they lost in Ames.
Yeah.
On a Thursday night, I think it was, right?
Peak, he was like having 10-win seasons, like pretty often there.
You could argue that Gundy's still at his peak. So this it kind of lends itself to a bigger conversation about the Big 12 in general, because Oklahoma State's a perfect example. They've had a very good football program for a decade, but they don't really have much national appeal still. Tennessee has more national appeal. Tennessee's the bigger brand. Peyton Manning.
Yeah. Oh, and there's no doubt about
Barry
that.
Sanders, motherfucker. Let's go. All right. Thurman Thomas. All right. We can go on and on and on. All right. No, I'm sorry. I like, to me, the fact, and also, I mean, I will say this, both teams, Oklahoma State and NC State, have a big opportunity because, the SEC and the Big Ten, but then in this case, both teams, Arkansas and Tennessee, are in the SEC. The ACC and Big 12 have a chance to make a statement against them. So going to be fascinating to watch. I think I love Arkansas, Oklahoma State on the schedule. Should be every year.
Definitely very passionate, involved, high paying fan bases. So, yeah, it'll definitely, it'll pop on TV. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Patty C.
Okay. I am already going to go to one that, and there are two that I've seen so far, scrolling up and down, that I think you have missed on page 1 here. And I, at the risk of stealing NC Nick's thunder, I will pass that one and I will choose another one, just because I think these are two very good teams. We have Rich Rod's Jacksonville State.
What? You're taking it this high?
Well, I don't want to steal Nick's. Right.
Your love for Rich Rod has gone off the rails.
Let me. All right. Let me. I was just saving this one for you, Nick. Okay.
So let me
take it. We got 9-5 App State last year, a very good football team, going to Clemson, a 9-4 team, who may have just pulled the upset against Georgia or caught a body blow against Georgia, and equally likely. And
I do love this game on the schedule.
I think App State has a great spot to go in there and maybe steal a win from Clemson.
I do love this game on the schedule. And now, are you taking a little higher than I would have? Yes, but I still love this game on the schedule. Just the fact, they're right there, South Carolina, North Carolina, and I like Clemson. I got to give Clemson credit because I feel like most schools learn not to schedule App State. Most like big time name brands.
We can go through the list of all the teams they've beat or almost beat. I mean, we do it once or twice a year.
This is the kind of thing that gets coaches and ADs fired. Putting a very live App State.
Oh, can you imagine if Clemson loses a close game to Georgia, and then the very next week App beats them? So that, like, they're gonna be thinking Dabo, like, oh god.
You know what it reminds me of is Virginia Tech 2011, 10. Whereas national championship contenders before the season lost against Boise State in DC, and then lost to JMU the next week.
And Colby and I were at that game.
That's true. We were at the Boise State game.
Yeah. Clemson gets its heart ripped out by Georgia, and then App State's just waiting to just deliver the bad news of loss number 2.
Now Clemson has never lost to Appalachian State, but the last time they played was 23-12. 23-12.
It's not a blowout.
That wasn't the last. That was the second. That was the second to last time they played. That was in '97.
That's a while ago.
I know, but they played in 14. It was 41-10. I love this game on the schedule. I circled it a while ago, but I also wouldn't have drafted it this high. So
see, that's the tough part. Like your personal preferences or something, or are you trying to pick the best games? You know, because obviously this is like a top 5 game for me. Like coming into this weekend, I'm gonna watch this game, and there's probably only going to be a handful of games I'm going to watch the whole thing throughout, main TV, not, a side TV and catching every other play or something. This is a game that App State against any big name team is must watch TV because they've proven it time in and time out. And of course, I do like App State, and Clemson's in the ACC. So for me, this is a fantastic game. I can't wait for it. It's top 5 for me, but I understand why. For me, it's going to be higher than for a lot of other people.
Let me push back a little bit here because App State is probably on a very short list of teams that will be at the end of the year in play for that power or that group of 5 playoff berth, right? And a win over Clemson here in a great spot for App State could be that bullet point on the resume that pushes them above the rest of them.
Especially when they beat JMU.
No.
Son of a bitch. Last year, overtime. Last year, overtime loss to UNC. The year before that, they beat A&M. We don't have to go through the last 20 years or so, but yeah, I mean, App State can do this.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I love the game. It is circled, and there's a few that, and I'll to Nick's credit here, even though I do have 30 TVs here, that is one where I will watch every snap. But then again, I think I would say the same for the other ones we mentioned. I actually think out of all the ones we've mentioned, the one that has the least likeliness for me to not watch every snap is Texas, Michigan, because I think it could get out of hand.
You'll be watching that. Let's be honest.
No, I will be, of course. But I'm just saying, like, would I lose interest if Texas is up 17 in the second quarter? Then I'm like, probably going to be paying more attention to other games.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, NC Naked jumps back to you.
Well, it's also on Colby's second page. Boise at Oregon, the LeGarrette Blount Bowl. Because we all know. See, if Noah B was here, he could pull up that clip of LeGarrette Blount knocking out that defensive lineman for
I don't want to get sued though. All right, it'll mark it, but it is a great clip. Go youtube.com.
What was the guy's name? Brian Houghton?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Jeez, put him on blast.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious moment.
Great regional matchup. This is similar to App State Clemson. Because Boise is another program that have beaten the best of the best. You name it. Florida State, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, I can we just talk about their dominance over Oregon?
3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. The Oregon
never beat them.
Matter of fact, this game is identical to App State Clemson, but maybe a little better. So maybe it was a pretty good play here.
Yeah.
Well, and I do think Oregon is a legit national title contender this year. I think Oregon will be in the playoffs.
I do too, and I think Boise. This is the question: is Boise ready for this? I know they go out and get Malachi Nelson, a 5-star quarterback, but see, the program has kind of fallen off a little bit. I know they still won the Mountain West last year, but they should have played San Jose State, and I actually think they would have lost that. And then Oregon is kind of in a different mode right now. Now, like I said, Boise has had recent dominance over them, so I guess I can't say that until the matchup happens, but I also do fear this one could get out of hand.
It's a fair question. It's possible.
Yeah.
Dan Lanning, I mean,
they bring in Dylan Gabriel, who's like a 20-year starting quarterback. They got fucking Fran Tarkenton. All right.
It's something about Georgia getting up for games. Like, I mean, Georgia and now Oregon seems to have that same gene with Dan Lanning going over.
Ironically, Boise is beating both.
Right. That's true. If anyone's not afraid of it, it's Boise. But as far as like coming in unprepared, I don't see that happening for Oregon. And the physicality is going to be there for Oregon too. So let's see if Boise can handle it.
Yeah. Shout out to Courtney Joe. Says hit that like button. Let's go. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Dustin also says I love good old fashioned West Coast football. Yeah, I mean that game is probably what would you be more shocked by? I would actually be more shocked if App State beat Clemson than Boise beating Oregon because Boise's 3-0 against them.
But that was
tough.
Chris Peterson's Boise. Did he get all three of those, or was
No, Harsin got him.
Harsin got him
Yeah.
too? Harsin was
Yeah.
a good coach too, though.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think
Oregon's
Oregon's better than Clemson right now. I mean, we all think that, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Is
maybe
Boise
App is
better than App State right now?
I think I would still take Boise.
Probably by a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. But it's close. It's
I think
really close.
Boise has a slightly higher, like, actually get the upset, like, gene, and then App State. App State keeps it close against powerhouses. Boise State beats powerhouses.
They beat
Yeah.
A&M 2
Yeah.
years ago.
App State, that's true. They've done
It's
it a
true.
couple. They beat Michigan. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I like that play. I mean, I thought maybe a little high, but it's okay. It's okay. Talking my shit. Look, you want to talk about more relevance too. Sorry if I just stay in the new Big 12.
Oh, here we go.
The chat was talking about this. Dustin brought this up. He said he would put it in his top 2. Baylor at Utah, Rice-Eccles Stadium.
It's a good game.
This game is better than NC State, Tennessee in a neutral. Utah is way more relevant than NC State or Tennessee. They've had multiple undefeated seasons. They've beaten Alabama. Patty C said they beat Nick Saban. Well, Utah's 1-0 against Nick Saban too at Alabama. All right. And yeah, they've been way more apart.
Urban Meyer was the coach, but
no,
it was
Whittingham.
It was Whittingham.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind. Never mind.
And Baylor just a couple years ago was knocking on the door. If we had the 12-team playoff just 3 years ago, Baylor would have been in the playoffs. I don't want to hear this bullshit.
Well,
all right?
last year Baylor won 3 games. So
True.
there's that.
True, but that's kind of how they've done it, though. Even back to the
And
Bryles era.
The year before
had
that, they won 6 games. So last 2 years, and this is at Utah.
Yeah, it's probably a little high.
I mean, this was a very close game last year. Utah got lucky to have 2 touchdowns within the last 2 minutes of the game to win 20-13.
But
It's
as
a good
far as
game, but I think
relevancy-
you're playing this game too high.
What? This is better than NC State, Tennessee.
No, it's
NC
not.
State is a
No, it's
fucking
not.
pretender.
No, it's
Who?
not.
Dude, I'll make a wager with you.
NC State's been better than Baylor the last 2 years.
I disagree. I think they're the same
Baylor
level.
won 3 games.
Okay, last year Baylor sucked, but the year before when they were 6-6, they would have beat NC State.
I don't know.
Didn't Baylor
that year they were about the same.
have to escape against Old Dominion? Weren't they like Baylor? I feel like was that last year or 2 years ago?
Baylor opened up last year losing by double digits at home to Texas State.
Yes. Okay. But the Big 12 is better than the ACC in football. And Baylor is okay. Baylor sucked last year, but look, a lot of their successful years, if you look over the past 10, 15 years, they've had a shitty year the year before, then they have a big year the next year.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they had a horrible year and they weren't great the year before. They were 6-6. But the year before that, they did win the Big 12 championship. So
yeah,
I think it's much. And Utah every fucking year. You want to talk about out of all the teams we're mentioning, NC State, Tennessee, Baylor, and Utah. I think Utah has the best chance to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, you're right.
This
Utah
year?
is
I agree.
Yes.
being projected
Rising.
by a lot of
Yeah,
sources as a bye in the playoffs, being like the Big 12 champion. A lot of people are predicting. So
I do think this is a double-digit win for Utah, though, especially at home. I mean, this game could get ugly.
yeah, maybe at home that does
It could.
factor.
It's like the Oregon game. It's kind of like the Boise Oregon game because it could get out of hand.
Baylor, how
And
high
the
is
App
their
State Clemson game,
how high do you
yeah.
perceive Baylor's talent level to be? Do you think they have fallen off? Because a couple years ago they were hanging with Oklahoma. They probably should have beaten Oklahoma in that one Big 12 championship.
But they did win the Big 12 championship 3 years ago against Oklahoma State. Remember they stopped at the 1 yard line.
But what I'm saying is Oklahoma is a top 10 talented team, and Baylor wasn't giving them anything really that much.
Yeah. Well, Aranda made the mistake of, he was one of the players or one of the coaches that told his player, he named a starting quarterback so his quarterbacks could hit the portal.
Yeah.
And then guess what? His quarterback got injured in the first game against Utah.
Paid the
or in the
price for
second
it.
game against Utah. And then you have
nice guys
you have
finished 3-9.
empty, you have no depth now.
Yeah.
And we see what the guy's doing. Kyron Drones is doing at Virginia Tech. So
yeah.
I think that's been bad. The portal's been very bad to Baylor, but I still think that like it would. If you told me Baylor goes 10-2 this year, I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. Baylor
Would you be shocked
I would
that
be a
Baylor
little
being 10-2?
surprised by that. Yeah. But
They have a history of doing this over the past 15
the fact
years.
that the Big 12 is wide open, if they have a great who's at the helm again at Baylor?
Dave Aranda.
Right,
Yeah.
Aranda. Yeah. No, I'm feel like I'm not in midseason form here. Dave Aranda's in year 3 now.
No, I think 4.
4. But
Yeah.
his first year was one where they went.
No, I think his first year they was in year 5. So his first year was the COVID year. He had a horrible year. It's 2-7.
Yeah.
Then he bounces back 12-2. That's my point. Is normally they have a horrible year and they bounce back. You look no further than 2016, 7-6. I'm sorry. 2017, 1-11, then 7-6, then 11-3. They lost the Sugar Bowl that year. Yeah. But they've had since 2000. So in the past 14 college football seasons, they have had 6 double-digit win seasons.
And how many different coaches were part of that?
Because 4 different coaches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're kind of coach-proof in terms of having elite seasons, 10+ win seasons. So, and Aranda's already proven he can. So, would it absolutely stun me if he got him back to that level? No, I think I expect a building year, for them. But if he had an amazing year, that would be a little surprising. Either way, I think Utah is the type of team that grinds the ball. It doesn't blow teams out all the time necessarily. So if Baylor finds himself in this game, sure. That wouldn't, it could be a pretty good game, but the fact that it's in Utah, maybe it could be a blowout too.
Yeah. That's the one thing is teams just get their ass whooped at that stadium. But, I still think as far as recency, you want to talk about brands that have been relevant in college football. And by the way, this is the second all-time meeting. Anyway.
And their athletic department is just as a whole. I think where Baylor had been so far in my basement, like Northwestern, Vanderbilt level in the 90s, I think now as an athletic department, I finally have to acknowledge almost elite, an elite athletic department there.
Anyway, okay, Patty, it jumps to you.
All right, so the last pick was we had Baylor at Utah.
Oh, I fucked up though. I should have picked a game over it. I fucked up.
Okay,
but
I'm looking around, talking too much about that. I'm just going to take one that's on the screen already, or it just was a second ago. We're going to go Kansas State at Tulane. There's the potential for a drop off here from Tulane, but the fact that it's in New Orleans, I know Michael Pratt's gone, so maybe Tulane.
No, but that backup, what was his name? Kai Horton, I think it was. He came back. I thought he hit the portal, but came back. Their NIL collective stepping up.
Yeah, just in terms of two teams that have been very good for the past few years. Obviously, Kansas State is routinely 9-10 win team, and then
and Avery Johnson, big time freshman, played a lot of it in the first year. His freshman year, big time recruit for them, one of their bigger recruits ever. And that's why Will Howard left for Ohio State. Avery Johnson, what you got to do is you got to make shots.
Kansas State 9-4 last year. Tulane 11-3, and the game is in New Orleans. I think. Kansas State always a Big 12 contender, and now that Oklahoma and Texas are out of the way, probably in the top 3 every single year, most of the time. Kansas State, and then Tulane. Of any group of 5, maybe on a very short list to get the next Big 12 or whatever invite, Power 5 invite. So good game here, and maybe some postseason implications.
NC Nick, what do you think of this one that he's picking here?
Well, it's a rematch of the game from 2 years ago where Tulane won 17-10 in the Little Apple.
Tulane's 2-0 all time.
Yeah, it's just too bad that this game didn't take place last year, because it would have been that much better. But no, I think it's a good game. I think it's fun. Whenever you see a P4 team go on the road against a G5 opponent, you always have to think potential upset. And Tulane, they're not quite the same team from last year with graduation, the coaching, the coach leaving. But it wouldn't shock me if this is a ball game, even though I think Kansas State is going to be pretty damn good this year. But I maybe a little too high for me, but it's still a fun game.
I like it, but you can make the case. There's one that I missed that I think I know you guys are going to hate on, but I got to bring it up soon. But
there's just 10 trillion games of
I know it's this one.
Similar quality.
I think this week is great.
Yeah,
I do think we're at the point too where you could pick a lot of different games. We're all going to have a little bit differences on what games we like better next, but I think we're past the obvious level, so it's a good play.
Oh, thank you.
All righty, NC Nick, it jumps to you.
Well, they call me lots of things, and one of it is weekday Nick. I will take the only weekday game, again on screen too for Colby. Friday night, BYU at SMU.
This one's great.
Everybody wanted
This
a
one's
rematch of that 2022 New Mexico Bowl where BYU won 24-23. Everybody's been screaming
Wait,
for
and
that
this
rematch.
is the Hail Mary game with Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry, with Jim McMahon.
That's
BYU
right.
SMU is the Hail
84,
Mary.
83, yeah.
You got the religious angle. You got
it's
both
great.
teams in new conferences. Granted, BYU went to a new conference 1 year earlier, and it's Friday night. I think it's a fun Friday night matchup.
Oh no, especially when you add what they represent. It's great. It's great. Yeah, like SMU that will like literally, I feel like they'll do anything. Like they've probably killed people, right? And we don't know about it. Where BYU that will just go into any country.
Well, I do believe Bush was the CIA director for many years. Going back to your Reagan joke earlier.
And then you got I love this game. Now BYU's 4-0 all time against SMU, Patty C. Are these Mustangs for real about football? They got to prove it. Friday night nationally televised game. I love it.
BYU.
Is this a game you
ahead.
missed, Colby, or is that still another one?
No, I mean I put that on the sheet, but I do think this deserves to be higher than some of the games we've played.
Okay, no, but there's still one game that you wanted to play last time.
Yes,
and
yes.
This isn't it.
This is not it.
Okay, gotcha.
But I love this game, and I think this game, Big 12 against ACC, Nick, you get some trash talking rights for your for Moneyline Mac. Say, hey,
let's go SMU.
Hey, well, let me say this: BYU 5-7 in their first season in the Big 12. I guess
some say it's going to be SMU's record in the ACC this year.
It might be. I mean, I think BYU had been a pretty good team for most of those years. SMU, but I don't know. That's probably a pretty good, estimation. I think Cincinnati, SMU, BYU, all pretty similar programs. And then, stepping into the second tier of Power 5, which is Big 12 and ACC, maybe there is a wake up
BYU
call.
fucked up because the year before they should have went when they had Jaron Hall. They went out and got Keaton Slovis, and they expected him to stay healthy, which is this guy gets injured, eating a fucking bowl of tricks. Yeah. So they fucked up by doing that. And that's what cost them, I think, because they did not have a backup quarterback. He was horrible.
Here's the thing. The last two games of the season for BYU, a 7-point loss against Oklahoma, a double overtime loss against Oklahoma State. They only lost to Kansas by 11 on the road. BYU may have been
and they were like one of the most injured teams in the nation last year.
Yeah, we know what BYU is plenty talented. I think BYU is probably more talented than SMU, although SMU has the quarterback play coming in. Who is it? What's the guy's name again?
Preston Stone.
The game is where in Dallas?
It's in Dallas, nationally televised.
It's a fun game.
It's great.
Yeah, Friday night. Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
Sign me up.
Let's go. I do love that game. Good play. And I actually think I would argue that this game's probably better than like 3 or 4 that we probably have drafted. So, and this one that I am too. You guys probably gonna hate on it, but we got the Mike Leach Bowl, Texas Tech at Washington State. You want to make a statement, Pac-2, that you want to take down a contender in the Big 12 this year? Look, Mike Leach was a good friend of the program. God rest his soul. And they got to do something. They got to have the family there. They got to do bobblehead night or something. They got to figure something out for Coach Leach here. Texas Tech at Washington State. I mentioned this stat last year. Wisconsin was the first Power 5 team to go into Pullman in 25 years. So shout out to Texas Tech actually playing in Pullman. This game was not scheduled last year. They added this game this year. So this was not a future schedule. This was something they just put together, and I love it. And I think they're going to honor Mike Leach as they fucking should. Your thoughts on this game? And this is the one that I think should have went higher.
Nick?
Dude, if there wasn't the Mike Leach angle, I would hate on this game big time. I mean, you give Texas Tech credit. Last year they played at Wyoming. I mean, are they freaking insane? Do they want to lose this game too?
Well, that's another thing I appreciate is a P5 going on the road to Washington State. And like I said, they didn't have to do this, by the way. Washington State is completely fucked as far as their schedule stuff.
Right.
They didn't have to do this. And then you're going to go to Pullman.
Well, it's kind of like the Coach Prime thing. Like, you respect it, but then you're saying, why are you doing this? you know?
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for the Coach Leach angle, then I would definitely hate, because this is a very random game. It's probably going to kick very late on the East Coast, and I'm probably not going to watch any of it. But the whole Leach angle, and if they do some kind of memorial or some kind of remembrance or something, that could be really cool.
That would be awesome. I mean, I think they made amends. Texas Tech posthumously kind of like honored him, right?
They had his wife there.
About fucking time. Yeah. I mean, for us, obviously that's a game we all want to watch, especially if they make a tribute there. But on the field, I think you're right. Washington State, a live dog. They were 5-7 in the Pac-12, which against
they were better than that.
7-6. They were better than that.
If you watch them,
I think Washington State was probably a better team than Texas Tech last year, and the fact that they're getting them at home.
It depends on when you watched them. If you watched them mid-season when they were in that losing streak, they sucked.
Well, you know, it's funny. I was listening to a podcast with John Wilner, who covers the Pac-12, and he was the guy that broke the USC and UCLA news to the Big Ten. And he said like the whole university was depleted when that news came out. Because that's, if you look at when they started losing, it's when the news broke of Washington State.
Really?
Everyone leaving the Pac-12. So it'll be interesting to see if they have a chip on their shoulder this year.
That is
that chip last year.
I mean,
true. They lost Cam Ward, but that dude, they went out and got an FCS quarterback. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. He was at I want to say he was at, was it Merrimack? They got an FCS quarterback who could play. They were always ahead of the curve on the FCS quarterbacks, bringing in Cam Ward. But oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name.
Speaking of which, if Miami goes to the Northwest for their starting running back and quarterback, if they do, what's the running back at Oregon State?
Damian Martinez.
Yeah. They're gonna have Miami could be a diesel this year. They'll find a way to fuck it up.
Cristobal. They'll lose.
There you go.
But their schedule, I think, breaks nice for him. But no, I just think this game's awesome. I think, I'm glad to see they're playing in Pullman. All these other schools are pussies that are afraid to do that, besides Wisconsin and Texas Tech.
Well, because it's a Mike Leach tribute game, I won't give you too much shit, but there are better games out there from a football standpoint.
And you could say pussy, or you could say intelligent.
Well, no, I mean, to me, like if you do a home and home, every school, I mean, it's the same as going into fucking Ames or something or wherever. Like you're a Power 5 school. Why would you not just do a home and home? To me, that's ridiculous.
Did they just accept a one-off in?
Well,
Pullman?
I don't know that, but I'm just saying that the fact they're playing in Pullman, no one else did it the past 25 years besides Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stunning. I would think in terms of clout, Texas Tech has slightly more than Washington State, and doesn't have to do a one-on-one, but maybe they do. Maybe Washington State wouldn't accept anything but a one-on-one with them. It's pretty insane that no Power 5 ever goes into Pullman.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid. But anyway, decent play. All
right. How do you see it jumps back to
you? Looking around. Let me look at the screen.
I mean, he hasn't played his Bearcats yet.
No, that game sucks.
Terrified of that game, huh?
I'm out on Cincy, man. Satterfield has to prove it. Duke Northwestern looks pretty good. It's out there. I am going to play a game that might get me a little flack, but it was two very good teams last year and a very good game last year. If I'm not mistaken, Liberty traveling to New Mexico State 13-1 versus 10-5.
Wow.
Liberty, obviously, probably the favorite for the group of 5.
Where do I even have this one? Where the fuck do I have this one? It's deep on the
you
charts.
Go deep. I am a deep sea diver. You're a fucking snorkeler. I'm
Patty
a scuba
C,
diver.
you know that Conference USA hasn't started their Tuesday and Wednesday games yet, right?
No, I mean, hey, that's right. This is a primetime game. They don't need to shuffle it down in the middle of the week. This should be the prime time. This should be college game day.
Look, I love New Mexico State, but obviously losing Jerry Kill and then their whole team left in the portal. I think this has potential to be a 3-touchdown win by Liberty. Or
it's a long trip. It's a cross country trip.
True, but it's just they lost everybody. Yeah, but Weehawk, there he goes. Zevi Ekas is the FCS quarterback I'm drawing a blank on. That went to Washington State. Liberty and New Mexico State. And see, Nick, your thoughts. I love some Las Cruces home games. But
I listed 32 games, and this wasn't one of them.
Haters.
All right, that's all I got.
I would wager to say that these two teams have the highest combined win total of the whole
no,
slate.
Michigan, Texas.
Oh yeah, Michigan, Texas. Okay,
but the problem is New Mexico State's they hired a coach that I thought was a weird hire. It was a very weird hire.
Who'd they get again? They got the guy from
the former UNLV head coach.
UNLV.
Tony Sanchez, I think his name is, and I know he's got connections to that university, but
I'm striking while the iron's hot. It's two very good. This was a conference championship game in the Conference USA last year, and New Mexico State hung with them for 3.5 quarters, and then Liberty pulled it away.
Believe it or not, they've played 7 times in the past 5 years. I repeat. They have played 7 times in the past 5
only
years.
One of those,
so you're going with the rivalry
was
game.
a conference championship.
Very familiar with each other.
I'll be honest. Patty C's making a case. I'm looking at these scores, and even though New Mexico State is 2-5 against them, with the exception of 22, 23. I'm sorry, 19 and 22. Every other game's been like a 1-score game.
Liberty's fool's gold. Let's be fucking honest.
I don't know. I think they're going to fuck them up. Right, Jamie Chadwell year 2. I think they're going to fuck them up. Anything else you want to say about this, Nick?
No, not really.
All right, Nick. Well, bounces back to you.
I think you got to take one of these P4, these P4 games here. The question is just which one. I mean, there's a couple of conference games this week also. I'm not going to take a conference game just yet. I guess I'll go to the Patty C Bowl. I'll go Pitt at Cincy. Even though both teams were really disappointing last year, I think that's why it adds intrigue this year, because Scott Satterfield, is his seat already hot? I mean, when's the last time he really had a good year? Yeah, he went 3-9 last year. His 4 years at Louisville, he was just 25-24, a losing record in conference. He hasn't been a good coach in a long time.
So why are we selling this game as a
because the loser, and I mean, look at Narduzzi. They were also 3-9 last year, and he's in year 10. Things have gotten a little stale, maybe.
And their star defensive end just hit the portal, and he said, "I don't think we're a winning program."
All of the things both of you are saying right now are reasons not to watch this game.
Let me tell you on this. They've been playing for a long time. It's Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Bengals, Steelers country. It's got the old Big East flavor. They were once conference foes. They've been playing since 1920. So in that capacity, I like it. Now, Cincy, believe it or not, has won 5 of 6 against Pitt. Before that, they had lost like 8 straight. So pretty shocking right there. But
in the midst of their terrible ass season last year, Cincy did get the better of Pitt. The game's in Cincy this year too.
Is this a future Big 12 game?
It very well could be if the ACC implodes, which is very possible. It also could be a future ACC game if the ACC gets desperate and needs to pull Cincy out of there. That would make a lot of sense.
I don't see that happening. I don't see the ACC plucking a Big 12 team right now. The Big 12 is on more firmer ground.
Yeah, much firmer ground.
I don't know if I believe that.
Their TV contract is up in like 2 years, dude. I don't think you pay attention to that shit.
I pay
that
attention.
Shit matters. They're going to re-up again 3 times probably before the ACC deal is done.
Yeah. Even though I play this game, this is probably the first one where I'm not necessarily excited to watch it. I'm excited to see the outcome, but not necessarily watch it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a reach.
Cincinnati got what? Indiana's quarterback. What's his name? Ben
from last year. Wow, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He was this. Yeah, started quarterback a year ago at Cincinnati or at Indiana. He had a decent year, I thought. Numbers wise,
suck.
Yeah,
they're gonna fucking suck. I hate Scott Satterfield. Okay, prove me wrong, Scott. Prove me wrong.
All right. Look, I hate what the problem is when you go down to 4 conferences, it's almost impossible not to take one of these teams from that gigantic fucking conferences. So I will play another Big 12 game.
I think that's the only thing you played so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the most compelling game out there right now. And they should probably move it to. I'm just trying to. No, it's another Big 12 team.
Oh, there was another.
Yeah.
No, Big 12.
Okay. Yeah, I actually think this is more compelling. So I'm going to take you to Norman, Oklahoma.
You are trying to. This is like what's the Mean Girls thing? Fetch, right? Houston is fetch, right? You are trying to sell us Houston so hard. Wasn't Houston in your top like 5 games last week against?
Yes, he very much overrated the Houston game last week.
Who did I play?
Also.
Last week he had the Houston UNLV game at number 6.
Yes, it was
overall
ridiculous.
The week was. It's not because I think that game's that great. I just think the week is not that good. Week 1 is not that
Houston.
good.
I had a big problem with the Houston UNLV game that high last week. I don't have a problem with the placement here. This was one of the games I was almost picked it over Pitt at Cincy because it's a pretty good game.
You shouldn't have a problem with this one because Willie Fritz is coming in to Houston and he's bringing his entire Tulane team. Yes, Michael Pratt is gone.
Hot ass wife.
But do you remember when they went to Norman in 2021, Michael Pratt and company? And by the way, that game was supposed to be played in New Orleans, but it was a fucking hurricane. So they played
2-day notice. They packed up
and they lost by 5 and had to leave with 3 minutes left.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, that Oklahoma team is much better than this Oklahoma team.
Really?
Yes. So
that Oklahoma was
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley. Okay, yeah, you're probably right. Although I do think homie from Clemson, Venables is getting it together. 10-3 last year. I already said it a long time ago. Oklahoma's going to run the SEC this year.
No, they are not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they are.
I do think Oklahoma's move adds some level of interest in this game because Oklahoma's away games are brutal. They're at Auburn, at Ole Miss, at Mizzou, at LSU, Texas on a neutral. So what do they have to do? They have to, hold serve at home if they're going to have their standard, 8-9 win game season. I don't think that's going to happen this year. But I think they'll probably win this game, but they better take care of the home games against the teams that they're going to be favored by. They're going to be favored by what, 10 here?
I think it's interesting because you had their whole offensive line either transfer or graduate. So they're breaking a brand new offensive line. Dylan Gabriel's at Oregon. So they're breaking in a brand new quarterback. Now, Jackson Arnold is highly recruited, but they're a brand new team.
It does hurt to lose Gabriel.
And then you add in, like last year, they had horrible wide receivers. That was one of the downsides of the team. And to me, what Willie Fritz can do, he's going to get the maximum out of his talent. It's not going to be Dana Holgerson. Like, I don't expect that. I mean, I don't know what to expect. Like, to me, he brought in so many Tulane transfers and so many transfers in general that I think they could be pretty good by the time week 1 comes around. Now, I don't know. I mean, going from air raid to Fritz's offense is different. So maybe there's a bigger learning curve there than I think, and maybe it is Norman, tough place to win, but I think they could be. I think they could be in a spot to give them a game.
Fritz is option oriented.
Well, historically, but he's
mixed bag now.
What was our bet that I laughingly beat y'all so easily last year? It was the Big 12 newcomers wouldn't reach double digits.
Oh yeah, I think I still owe you 5 shots for that in a row.
So what is the bet going to be this year? The Big 12 newcomers from last year. I'm not talking about the new guys because Utah could definitely win double digits. BYU, Cincinnati, UCF, right? That was the only 3 last year.
And Houston.
8 games. Is any team going to win 8? Do you want to make that bet?
I think I feel like one of them will. One of them will. It's not going to be Cincinnati. It'll be one of the other 3.
Houston, BYU, Cincy, and who was the UCF?
Yeah.
I feel less confident this year than I did last year.
Oh, I think UCF getting KJ Jefferson is huge.
So let's say the bet is 8 games. You have to go over. If you have a team that hits 8, it's a push. I'll go under again.
I mean, you look at these schedules. I mean, who is UCF not going to be favored against? Utah, right? But they get Utah and Orlando. I mean, they're going to be favored in a lot of games. They're not going to be favored in names. Or the Swamp, but they could win at the Swamp. They beat them a couple years ago.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah,
Step up to the plate.
I will.
Bet me
One of them
again.
will win 8 games. One of them will win 8 games.
No. So the over under is 8. So if a team
They
wins
win
8,
9.
if a team
It's a
wins
push.
8, it's a push. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I see 9. I think there's too much balance in the conference.
Make it 7.5.
Yeah.
Don't be a pussy, Nick.
Hey. I made the bet here. I set the line. All right. I said it's 8.
I think it's harder now too. Like I know you had Oklahoma and Texas before, but now you add in like, to me, Colorado Dion year 2, Utah and Arizona are coming in pretty loaded, right? Roster wise. And then well, I guess Arizona State's kind of a bye week, but I also think like Houston getting Fritz though, that's a huge upgrade.
All right. It's only April. We got plenty of time to talk about this in the off season. Just know that the offer is on the table.
Okay.
I don't think 9 wins. Well, anyone in the Big 12 get 9 wins. I think that's
Right.
a better question. Yeah.
You guys are the ones that bet 10 last year.
Yeah, but I think it's harder this year because there's so many fucking teams.
All right.
Like, anyway.
I believe I'm on the clock.
Yeah. Where you going, buddy?
Scrolling up and down. Nothing really popping off the screen. I got one that I want to play later. I'll catch a lot of flack if I play it now. But I'm going to play one that I was going to play before, and I already caught flack for it. Now is the time to play it. It's Jacksonville State, an up-and-coming program, right? Versus Louisville, who was in the ACC championship, who, you know, if they had their starting quarterback in the ACC championship, might have no, did they? No, it was Plum.
Yeah.
It was
Plummer
Florida,
played.
Florida State didn't have. Well, I
Yeah.
guess maybe Florida State would have whipped their ass if they had their starting
But they
quarterback.
got Tyler Shuck.
Either way, Louisville was a pretty good team. They should have beaten Kentucky last year and finished with like one or two losses, and maybe been a playoff contender as of championship weekend. They're a good team, and I do think that Jacksonville State in Conference USA is a player this year.
Oh yeah, they are a player.
Of course. They were
Yeah.
in the championship game last year, right?
No, New Mexico State was.
Oh, that's right.
Is Jacksonville State a player for the Group of 5 playoff spot potentially?
I think Liberty is going to run away with it personally, but if someone else from the CUSA, it would be Jacksonville.
Where's that game being played? Jacksonville State, Liberty this year.
That I am not sure, but I tend to think
I want to do a little digging because if that is in Jacksonville,
Alabama,
then maybe the Gamecocks get or the Cox, whatever they are, get the W there.
Gamecocks, yeah.
So yeah, I think this is
this is a cool one. I mean,
is Liberty that much more talented than Jacksonville State?
well, they spend way more money.
Yeah. Who's a better coach?
That game is at Liberty too, Patty.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's not happening.
Oh, that game is at Liberty?
Yeah, they're not going to win that.
They can walk into Liberty and fucking get a win. What are they? The Hornets' nest of what? A 25,000 seat stadium?
No, that
They're
place
loud.
is packed. Yeah.
They're loud, but fuck it. Rich Rod's been in that environment before. He'll prep his boys up.
I think Chadwell year 2 too. They'll understand what he wants a little bit more. You know, he'll have his personnel in a little bit more. Yeah, but as
Louisville,
far as this game, I do think it is an interesting game.
Brom or Rich Rod? Who's a better coach?
Ooh.
I think it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you
I
could
think
argue
probably
both
Brom.
sides. I think you could argue both.
Yeah.
I mean, Rich Rod got Arizona to the Pac-12 championship. They didn't win it, but a couple times. He did suck at Michigan, but he was successful at West Virginia.
Yeah.
I still think out of all those though, Purdue is probably the hardest job to win at.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I would lean Brom, even though I'm a Rich Rod fan.
Yeah.
So that said, I think it's gonna be a pretty good game. So
Yeah. NC Nick, your thoughts?
It is. I would probably play some P4 on P4 games over this one. But it certainly was on my list. I would have played it maybe 5 spots lower, but I do think it's a pretty fun game. I agree.
personal flavor.
And by the way, I still think we say P5 because the Pac-2 does exist.
There you go.
I've already transitioned to P4.
You're big into transitioning, aren't you?
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
NC Nick, where are you taking us?
I'm gonna go Kansas Illini. Rematch of a game last year, which was a solid game, 34-23.
I almost took this one. I almost just took this one.
I think Kansas, actually, Colby, I would choose Kansas over. What was your argument earlier about the the
Iowa
favorites
State?
to win the Big 12. Yes.
Iowa State. Well,
Yes.
I think the big problem here is will Jalen Daniels stay healthy because they don't have Jason Bean anymore.
Yeah, but how many games did they win last year with an injured Jalen Daniels? 9 or so, 8 or something.
But that's because they had Jason Bean. He's graduated.
Yeah, no, but maybe they have another guy coming up in the wings.
Look,
that
I'm
don't know
with you.
about.
You know me. I think Kansas could be in the playoffs. Lance Leipold, let's go. Take the over. Let's go. But
and look, Bilma needs a big year 4 also. You know, he's
Patty
slid down
C's
a little
boy.
bit.
Patty C's boy.
So far,
no longer-
he's just 18
he's no longer
and
in
19.
Cabo. He's no longer in Cabo drinking pitchers of beer.
I think we all thought that was a perfect fit, and I'm not going to say he's done bad there, but he hasn't done great either.
2 years ago, he had a good year. Last year was a little setback.
Overall, he's 18 and 19 and 12 and 15 in conference.
Who have his quarterbacks been for those 2 years?
Well, last year he
Was
had
it-
the SMU transfer, Mordecai.
Mordecai. Okay, and
The
then
year before that, he had Brandon Peters.
Okay, so Mordecai, should
Hold on, I thought Mordecai went to Wisconsin.
You're right. It's not Mordecai. Who's the other SMU transfer? They brought in a fucking transfer.
They did bring in a transfer, but I feel like they've had shitty quarterback play. Is my point, and I feel like this year they got a good quarterback, right? Illinois got a decent.
No, it's the same as last year. The same guy as last year.
Why am I fucking this up?
Wasn't he a Rutgers transfer?
No, that was 2 years ago. Satowski.
Okay. Oh, he was awful.
We're all over the place.
No. I'm pulling it up right now. Their transfer was a big time recruit though. It wasn't. It was Altmaier. I'm sorry. It was Altmaier.
Oh, yeah. From
and
Ole
they
Miss.
also had and they also had John Paddock. Come in from Ball State. But Altmaier struggled. Only 13 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Comes in from Ole Miss. That's what it was. It wasn't SMU. It was Ole Miss. And
Same program.
Yeah. And he didn't really light it up. Did he? Did he have a game where he threw for 300 yards? I'm not even sure he did.
I guess my point with that is Illinois is a pound the ball and play defense team, but just like Wisconsin when they had Russell Wilson, it helps astronomically when you actually have a quarterback that can throw the ball a little bit. And if they have that, then Illinois becomes a threat. I think Kansas is a way better team than Illinois. I think they walk into Champaign and slap them around. But the fact that it's a road game, is this a border battle?
It is
Close.
a border battle.
No,
it's close though. It's close, right?
It might
You
be
sure?
something to be. It might
Missouri's
be a
in the
battle.
way, right?
Missouri's in the way.
Yeah, Missouri's in the way. Yeah, no, I like this game. I mean,
well, I figured you would. There's a Big 12 team in it.
Well, I almost played it just because it's better. It's more interesting than a lot of other games out there.
I agree.
I would say
I played it.
Yeah.
Brewski.
Sure.
All right.
I think it's much more interesting than Pittsburgh Cincinnati, which you played, Nick. If you want,
It actually is. It's a better game. Yeah, I agree. Let's switch that.
Yeah. There we go. Switch that one. And folks, this is side A. If you're on YouTube, stick around. We're gonna jump into side B here. But we're gonna close out the audio side of this. So stick around on the college football experience, where you better start thinking about yours. And we're back on the college football experience, week 2 draft. Yeah, we're going through top 30 games on the college football slate for week 2. If you're on the audio side, go listen to side A. We go through the first, I think it was first 16 games, 17 games,
15.
Yeah. We got to speed it up here, but let's go. I'm on the clock, and see Nick just played Kansas at Illinois, which is a fun one.
16.
I'm going to jump over, and that was the one I was going to play. So, look, the AC, no, I don't know. You know what? I will play this. The ACC has a chance to make a statement to the SEC. Fancy State can take down the Vols, right? And then
I like this one
if
too.
the California Golden Bears can go into Hugh Strip Club Freeze's home and take care of Auburn, that would be a big statement. Look, Cal won at Ole Miss a couple years ago. Normally, Cal I feel like, can get the best. They should have beat Auburn last year in Berkeley. Remember that game? Oh my God.
What was it, Jaden Ott?
Oh my God.
For some reason, jumps.
Auburn had no business winning that football game.
Yeah.
And completely stole that game. So maybe Justin Wilcox and the Cal Golden Bears can head down to War Eagle and pull the upset against Strip Club Freeze. Look, here's the thing with Strip Club Freeze. They still don't got a quarterback. They still have Peyton Thorne. He's like running Peyton Thorne like an option quarterback. It's like watching Mark Rippon run the option. If that happens, I know that's a toxic place to play. I know that crowd's awesome, but if they don't upgrade, which I know they're going to try to upgrade and buy a quarterback in the next couple of weeks, why can't Cal stay in this game then? They couldn't complete a pass last year. You know what I mean?
Auburn. Yeah.
Other than looking very good against Alabama,
Yeah.
Auburn did not look very good last year. So anything's possible. I do think Cal's chance to win was last year at home, but hey, I mean, New Mexico State won at Auburn last year.
Yeah. Can you open this thing for me?
Yeah.
So yes, this is one of those P4 games, which belongs to be played in this position here.
This is how the ACC makes their statement. It's not going to be NC State. They're going to lose to Tennessee.
No, it's going to be
SMU
SMU.
is going to beat BYU, and Cal's going to beat Auburn. It's going to be the two newcomers, and everyone's going to be like, hey, the ACC is respectable. All of a sudden, Florida State stops suing them.
Who's
Right?
Stanford playing this week? Oh,
Yeah.
they're going to beat Cal Poly.
How do you see your thoughts on Cal Auburn?
I think it's I was looking at it. I was looking at it right around here. I think it's a pretty good game. I mean, Cal always underperforms despite having, I think, pretty good talent. I think that's probably a Pac-12 culture thing. Auburn, like you said, has glaring flaws. Do I expect Cal? What do you think? Is Cal the kind of team that can travel and get a win on the road? Typically,
I think that they went to Ole Miss and won, and I think they went to Chapel Hill and won not that long ago. But Auburn's a little bit different than both those schools historically.
yeah, there's a much more hostile crowd than they're probably.
Ole
used to.
Miss gets lit though.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
But
That's true.
true.
But Ole Miss gets party lit. I think Auburn gets mean lit.
Yeah.
I think
Like burn some trees lit.
right.
Or poison some
Poison
trees, I should
trees
say.
lit.
Wait,
Wait, that was a
happened to
Bama
them.
fan. Though.
That happened to
That was a
them.
Bama fan that did that.
Oh,
to
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They're all mean down
Yeah,
there.
they complain. They're the real tree huggers. This is the tree hugger bowl. We got the cow tree huggers going into Auburn. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Cal brings some of those trees that died
That's right.
with
That's,
them and be like, "Here's a gift for us scheduling this moment home."
that's right.
All right,
Fucking
peace,
glorious.
save the planet.
The Tree Hugger Bowl is born. Yeah, give me that clip.
What do you make of what do you make?
I think Jay Knott is a threat here. I think he's the most dynamic player in the game, and I think if Auburn doesn't have an answer for him, both catching and running the ball, then they might be in trouble. Game might be close late. I think Cal is talented enough to trade blows with Auburn. Obviously, we saw that last year.
I don't know where the fuck this clip is.
Oh, come on.
Hippie Olympics. Doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.
All right. Well,
You can't win.
Patty C, you're on the clock.
I'm going to go to a game that again is going to give me a little flack from you guys, but I'm going to play it anyway because it tickles me a little bit. Okay. We're going down to Miami again.
Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida. They are routinely on my they're my fetch. I'm going to stop using the word fetch because I don't
Wait, you're not playing the Hurricanes, right?
I am playing the Hurricanes. We're playing the Rattlers.
This is a horrible play, dude.
They're 12-1 last year.
They lost their whole team. Willie Simmons is with Duke now.
Okay, maybe I'll skip that one then.
Yeah.
Talk some sense.
Okay,
I'll lay the 41.
Well, what else is on here? I'm looking around.
There's a lot. There's a conference game in the SEC. There's an SEC Big 12 matchup going on. There's a ACC Big 10 matchup. There's a couple mid-major. There's a couple ACC conference games. There's a Big 10 conference game.
Well, are they shitty or what am I looking at here?
Do you want me to name some?
Here, scroll back on the board. Is there anything I've missed here?
Yes. Bottom left.
Mississippi State, Arizona State.
You
no,
also
that
have
sucks.
a conference game on the right side.
Do we play Duke Northwestern yet?
No.
All right, I'm playing that. It's a fucking decent game. Both these teams were 8-5 last year. I know Duke has a new man.
They have the guy you were going to play, Florida A&M's head coach, Willie Simmons. Willie Simmons. Yeah, goes to Duke. They got Manny Diaz as the head coach now.
It was a pretty, did a decent job at Penn State. Obviously, okay at
This
Miami.
is the private school pussy bowl right here.
Yeah. Duke typically gets the better of Northwestern.
I feel like they've gotten them like 4
They've
or 5
won
straight
5 in a
times.
row,
Yeah,
5 straight.
Who's Northwestern's coach? I'm drawing a blank.
David Braun, who came over from North Dakota State.
I have stricken his name from my memory as a tribute to Pat Fitzgerald, but it's time to start.
Fitzgerald hired him.
Okay,
and then he took over after they made a big complaint about these flying squirrels, which I just find ridiculous.
Maybe I got to give David Braun a pass. But look, 2 pretty good teams last year, 8-5 in Power 4 play, both of them. So
I do think it is. This is correctly played. This is much better than the fucking Florida A&M Miami game.
Well, I just want to see Miami lose that game. That's my point.
They can't lose.
They
that
probably
one.
won't. Okay, but anyway. Where's this game being played? It's on the.
Have you seen them at the stadium? Have you seen what they've done?
Is this their home opener at this?
That practice stadium. That's like 2 feet from the fucking lake. What is that lake? What's the lake? Oh, I'm drawing a blank on the fucking lake.
Lake Michigan.
Lake Michigan. Yes. I almost said Lake Chicago.
Sheboygan.
We're a bunch of fucking idiots. No, NC Nick, sell me on this game being awesome.
Well, I mean, like I'm a Duke fan, so I was just about to play this too if Patty wouldn't have. This is the first real test for Manny Diaz at Duke. Week 1, they host Elon, which doesn't really count. It was 38-14 in Durham last year. We mentioned Duke's won 5 in a row, but look, both teams went bowling. I want to watch a game. I'm not sure if it has a lot of sex appeal for a lot of people that aren't Duke or Northwestern fans, but I think with the coaching turnover on Duke's side, I think it's a fun game.
Another huge opportunity for the ACC to stick it to the Big Ten. All right, with their alliance. All right, take this alliance and shove it up your ass. Here's a Manny Diaz win at your practice field. All right, I'll take a flying squirrel to your face, man. Says Manny Diaz. I mean, it's properly played here. I can't say that I'm super excited to watch it, but I'm gonna watch. This will be on one of the 11 TVs here at SPN Studios. I don't know how to sell it any other than that. But NC Nick, now you are on the clock. Where you going?
I'm kind of tired of taking these P4 teams. I can't take South Carolina, Kentucky. I mean, that's just a boring ass SEC game.
What are you talking about? I remember watching Billy Jack Haskins against Steve Tannehill. That was fire.
I'm gonna go a little off the radar here. It may be my favorite G5 versus G5. Have we had a G5 versus G5 yet?
I don't think we have. I don't think so.
There's a couple of really good ones, but I kind of like this UTSA at Texas State game.
I love this game too. I mean,
is Texas State the new UTSA?
Yeah.
Somehow Jeff Traylor hasn't been pried away yet after going 12-2, 11-3, and 9-4 over the last 3 years. But Frank Harris is gone, and there's a new kid on the Texas block named GJ Kinney who's trying to make a name for himself. I think it's a fun, Texas showdown here. What do you guys think?
And it's a rivalry, battle of I-35. All right.
Did these guys ever coach against each other in high school is the question. If they were both championship level high school,
they probably did. They probably did. If I had to guess, I love this game. I think it's properly played. Now, I there was a couple maybe you could argue, but I can't wait to watch this one. This one, I mean, this is Sunbelt AAC too, so
always a matter of pride.
Yeah, there's a few of those battles going on.
UTSA 9-4, Texas
NC
State.
Nick, remember NC Nick hates the AAC. So it's a big game for him.
That's true. And you know what? There's another Sunbelt AAC game, which FBI YouTube division in the chat. That's an interesting name. I was thinking of picking that one, but nobody's picked it yet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about there's a third one too that matters. But we'll talk about that one a little bit. But no, I mean UTSA Texas State is an awesome game. That's a very fun game, and I'm glad it's not at the fucking filthy ass Alamo Dome. It's down there in San Marcos, Texas. The Lone Stars will be flowing. Should call it Lone Star Stadium.
I like it. San Marcos, that. Yeah, it's got a little swag.
Let's just start late and
naming shit our.
What the fuck? Mel Brooks, a genius. All right.
You're on the clock.
I am on the clock. Let me
Check that door for heat, Tim.
Check that door for heat, because when I'm picking these games that matter. I will. I'm not going to shame it like Nick did. I think Kentucky, South Carolina is intriguing, especially when you consider Kentucky has won 7 of the past 10. They're closing the gap. All right. Carolina has a 6-game lead, but they've been playing since the 1930s. If you look at the past 3 games, they've all been by 10 points or less. And with this new SEC schedule, these wins fucking matter. All right. I know it's still 8-game bullshit. It should be 9.
They matter if they want to go bowling.
Yes, because it's much harder now. You don't have the SEC East. Not everyone's getting Vandy and South Carolina. So, or whoever, but I think it's a good game. I think it's a good game. In the past 3 matchups have told me it's been a close game. And I'll be honest, now that Calipari's out, I think Stoops probably lit himself a cigar, had himself a whiskey. He's feeling good about life. But meanwhile,
he is definitely top dog in Lexington, right?
Yeah. And I think it's a huge year for Shane Beamer, because I think he might be on the hot seat a little bit.
He absolutely is on the hot seat.
Yeah.
It was a questionable hire in the first place.
Week 2, this is where, you start off, I think at Old Dominion week 1, they should win that, but this is where it gets a little tricky, I would say. So your thoughts, Patty C, on this game?
2 relatively boring historical brands, but both have something that makes them a little interesting. Kentucky has finally earned my respect as a team that must be respected, and Beamer has Beamer magic, so they're always capable of a big upset. In Lexington, I mean, kind of a snooze fest, but I guess for mid-level SEC play or kind of lower level SEC
I'd say like it matters because of what I doubt probably both these teams go bowling.
Yeah,
well, I don't know with the 8-game schedule. I guess
it might be the thing that boosts one of them into a bowl and kicks the other one out. So,
NC Nick, your thoughts on Carolina, Kentucky?
I mean, this screams like noon kickoff.
Jefferson Pilot Sports.
It's not ACC. I really doubt if I watch much of this game. It just seems to me like this is a game that happens every year, and I don't care every year.
They played this on a Thursday decently back in the day, but they haven't.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
I would certainly watch it on a Thursday, but with everything else going on a Saturday, I just don't find myself watching this.
Hater, South Carolina's not that far from where Nick lives, and he just hates the SEC. See, he's tribal.
I hate the SEC now too. Say I hate everything.
Yeah, well, clearly you do by disrespecting this game. All right. Patty C, you're on the clock. Where are you going?
Peeking around. You did mention a Big Ten on Big Ten matchup. So I think I'll take the bait. And
wait, my game is better than this game. Don't you?
Hey,
I mean,
they're in the same boat. They really are.
No, they're not.
I agree. Yours is a little bit better, Cole.
Well, you picked me for me, so it should be fucking better.
Okay, but I'm just saying, you guys are gonna give me a hard time.
Well, okay. Combined records, South Carolina and Kentucky combined for 12 wins last year. So did Michigan State and Maryland. Michigan State, however, at 4-8, has a higher ceiling than either South Carolina and Kentucky. We've seen that for years. And Maryland was the best team of all of them record-wise last year.
And
the game is in College Park.
Maryland would have lost to Kentucky last year if they played.
Probably. It depends on what point in the season. Second half of the season, yes. First half of the season, I feel like Maryland was strong.
Do you think Maryland's a good football program?
8-5.
It's an illusion.
8-5 in the Big Ten. Maybe you guys are just slow to accept it. Mike
Big
Loxley
Ten was ass
is
last
a changed
year.
man.
Big Ten was not a good conference.
You need my cousin Vinny to show you the deck of cards. You know?
That's right. Yeah. I'm looking at him sideways.
It's this then.
That's right.
This game screams boring as fuck. He's talking about Michigan State at Maryland.
It does. The only intrigue this one has more over the other is that we have a new coach at Michigan State, and we kind of want to see how Sparty looks under the new coach.
How about this? Since Maryland's joined the Big Ten, and they've played Michigan State, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Only once was it 10 points or less.
Since Maryland played Michigan State.
Yeah.
Well, times have changed.
Well, I'm saying Maryland won the last 2 actually, but I'm just saying these games have been blowouts.
Oh, well, sometimes a blowout can be entertaining, if
Michigan State and Maryland make me want to fall asleep when it comes to football.
No, they're not interesting teams. We're picking at the nubbins here. Okay,
And Nick, your thoughts on Sparty? I know, your wife is a Michigan State Spartan herself. At Maryland, sell me on College Park rocking here.
I mean, look, what are we at? Pick like 20 now or something, or
21. Yeah.
21. So you can't really complain now. But in general, this game does not have any appeal. It is similar to South Carolina, Kentucky. I'm not going to watch much of this.
no, hold tight real quick because I want to look one thing up.
Really, at this point,
I'm
do you
sorry.
want to watch?
South Carolina, Kentucky is way better than Michigan State. Maryland. No one goes to Maryland fucking games. South Carolina, Kentucky will be rocking. It matters there.
This is where we're at in the week. Do you want to watch like bad or average or boring P4, or do you want to watch interesting G5? I think I'd lean right now towards the interesting G5.
Yes.
Hey, fuck you guys, because listen to this. Michigan State was a good team, and I would argue that the talent level is still pretty high there, even though things have gone bad for a few years. Maryland has been 8-5 for the last 2 years.
I just don't buy it.
2 years.
I don't think they're really 8-5.
And they were 7-6 year before
they lied
that.
to me.
Yeah. Okay. Believe it or don't believe it. But look, Mike Loxley has listened to his win percentages
on the internets.
Mike Loxley's win percentage as a coach has increased for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive years. He's been getting better or the same. He is building Maryland into a fucking powerhouse, and you are asleep at the wheel.
Powerhouse, huh?
Yeah.
Bobby Ross is back at the helm.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
Bobby Ross.
Bobby Ross, the former coach, had Maryland rolling with Boomer Esiason.
Oh, I thought you were trying to pull a Ralph Friedgen.
Oh no, but he had it rolling too a little bit, and they fired him for being fat. seems pretty ridiculous to me.
Didn't they do that for Mangino too? He can't say, no, that was for saying fuck.
Yeah, probably really because he's fat.
Yeah.
If I had to really dive behind
body
it,
shamers,
bullshit. Yeah. So NC Neck, it goes back to you. Pick 22. Where are you going?
I'm tempted to take Troy Memphis. I'm going to take one more ahead of that. Marshall at Virginia Tech.
I love it.
I like it.
This one's great. This one is underrated to me.
I agree. I mean, it's a rematch. Marshall won in Huntington last year, where Rasheen Ali ran for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. But
how far are they from one another?
3 hours apart.
This is a game that should happen every year, man. I think if
Marshall
they're not
game.
playing ECU, they should be playing Marshall.
It's not the
Just
same.
rotate.
Not the same thing as Marshall and West Virginia, because again, we looked at Marshall. It's practically in Kentucky. Its elevation is only like 600 feet. It's not even a mountain school. I'm dissing Marshall right here on this podcast.
I think it's an excellent regional matchup, and I think a lot of eyes are going to be on the Hokies this year because of the preseason hype. And I said it last week, when the Hokies have a lot of hype, that's usually when you want to fade them. So
and remember, they're going to be coming off that loss to Diego pissing Pavia week 1 against Vanderbilt. Yeah, I this game's fun. They should schedule this more often.
All right, I know you're gonna clap back, and with good reason, because Virginia Tech was 7-6 last year, and a lot of shitty losses. A couple really strong looking wins at the end of last year.
Don't bring up that fucking bowl game.
The hype train is.
You bring
rolling.
up that bowl game.
Drones for Heisman.
Yeah, drones for Heisman. Is Virginia Tech though? That schedule is pretty.
I think they lose to Vanderbilt week 1.
It sets up.
I'm being serious.
Virginia Tech could be hosting Clemson toward the end of the year in a massive, massive game.
No, I do think there's value. Me and CJ Sullivan just did a college football show on futures on the College Football Experience. Go check that out. I understand the logic in taking a future for Virginia Tech, and I think you need to, because even if they lose one of these non-con games, because they historically always lose to Old Dominion or last year Marshall,
if
or
they're taking a step forward out of absolute shit.
Well, who cares about the non-con?
Yeah.
To me, the conference schedule is incredible. Like, yes, you have to go to Miami, but Miami and Cristobal have been duds every fucking year for the past 20 years. And then your Clemson game, getting the rest of the teams, you don't have North Carolina on the schedule. You don't have Florida State on the schedule. You don't have Louisville on the schedule. All the teams that we think are decent, NC State's not on the schedule.
It's a cakewalk.
Dude, their conference schedule is at Miami, which Virginia Tech might even have the home edge. Then at Stanford,
they'll probably lose at least one of those.
The Stanford game is the one they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Going out there. Then they get a bye week, then home to Boston College, home to Georgia Tech, at Syracuse. I mean, how many empty fucking stadiums are they going to here? That's 5. They play 5 straight empty stadium games. Then they're home to Clemson. Then at Duke, a bye week, but then at Duke, and then home to Virginia. Dude, you got to buy a future on Virginia Tech to play in the ACC championship.
Yeah, all they got to do is win that Clemson game late in the season. This will be a big test, and it might be something that I can't say on with a straight face that this is a playoff contention team, Virginia Tech.
No,
but they're going to lose a few.
They're
of
like
them.
Louisville last year.
Well,
They're
Colby,
even
could
worse.
you bet Louisville to play in the ACC championship game or win it? Because that's the big difference. I mean, granted, half the battle or more than half the battle is getting there, but then you have to actually win it. It's hard to find odds to just make the championship game.
Well, you could hedge, but we don't do that here. But what you could do is hope that Clemson beats Florida State, because if that happens, I don't think Florida State's going to be nearly as good as they were a year ago. They lost so many players. If that happens, you could end up. I mean, are we sure that Florida State, Clemson are going to be in the ACC championship? Because it could be NC State or Miami or something like that.
I mean, the one team you guys didn't mention on your pod, because I listened to it, was NC State, and I think
well, the history's on our side.
True, but NC State's got a little bit of that Virginia Tech when like expectations are high, they usually don't come through. But I think their hat deserves to be in the ring there too.
Yeah, Moneyline Max saying last time Maryland football was relevant was during that scene in Wedding Crashers. Crab legs and football.
That's what Maryland does.
That's what Navy does. That's what Navy does.
Okay. Wait, we have a hard out in what?
Yeah, 15, 16 minutes. Yeah.
All right, so let's fucking rock.
Okay.
I am going to wait. It's your pick, Colby.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm taking you to the snapper. All right. Look, I think the most interesting hire was Sean Lewis at San Diego State, and you have the Beavs, life without Jonathan Smith and their entire roster. It's sad. It really is sad what's going on with Oregon State, but maybe they can find a way to get it going, but Trent Bray was a very good coordinator for them. So maybe he can figure out, how to be a very, very good football coach there and deal with the scenarios that they're dealing with. But I love this game with Oregon State heading to the snapper to take on Sean Lewis. I think they're going to make a statement. I think they're going to get this game. I think San Diego State beats Oregon State at the snapper.
Bold statement.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I think 8-5 versus 4-8 from last year. Go ahead, Nick.
I think there's some intrigue in this game because of the coaching changes on both sides. And Pat, you can mention those records from last year, but I don't think they really pertain to this matchup because things have changed that much.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think
I would still say like San Diego State had good defense and special teams. They just had a horrible offense, and now you brought in a wizard at offense. And I think he'll find a way to score.
Who's
points.
the offense?
Sean
Lewis. Yeah, that's true.
The two teams Colby is highest on so far, just from doing podcasts with them every week. It's Houston and San Diego State somehow.
They should be in the same conference.
It's the group of 5 teams that Colby wishes were Power 5 teams. It's essentially
Houston is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. At this point, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and they're better than your little Cincinnati Bearcats, you little piece of shit.
What did they do? 3-9, 4-8 last. I guess they were better last year.
They were better. Let's go. NC Nick. What do you make of this game?
What do we? Yeah, it's a solid game. I think I already kind of added my 2 cents there.
Patty, your thoughts on Oregon State at the snapper?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Oregon State falls off. I mean, they were a super physical, super well coached team last year. I assume some of that will carry over, even though Jonathan Smith is gone. San Diego State, a long way to go, even though they were recently pretty good. I don't think the snapper is a super intimidating environment. I know that's blasphemy.
It will be soon when they see Sean Lewis's offense.
That's true. He had
Eric Coryell 2.0 here.
He got demoted midseason by primetime. What was the reason for that again?
Well, he had took a job interview.
He already took a job interview. So he had that offense flying both at at
Kent State
and Colorado. Yeah, San Diego State could be good again. So good game.
All right, NC Nick, it jumps back to
Patty
C. Sorry.
Well, fuck you. I'm gonna play it. Because I want to.
Don't play Florida A&M.
I'm playing it.
Florida A&M in Miami.
Florida A&M.
Are you really gonna watch this?
Well, I'm interested in the outcome. All right, fine. I won't play it.
Why are you selling us on this game so much?
I feel like maybe this is the type of game Miami could lose. Granted, they've smashed some lower level teams.
ACC games going on.
What, Georgia Tech, Syracuse,
and Virginia Wake.
I should play that for personal reasons, but those two are the most boring games.
Okay,
in all of football.
It's more interesting than fucking Florida A&M and Miami. What?
Well, at least I don't know. There's a lot of shit talk going on. This is like, I don't know.
How about some of the other ones out there? South Florida almost beat Bama last year. Now they got to go to Tuscaloosa. No Saban.
You know what? I will play that one. I like that one.
You're a huge Alex Galesh fan.
I am, and I think this is like Saban doesn't, or fucking homeboy from Washington,
Kalen
DeBauer plays a similar little frou-frou style of football. Although I think they were decent.
Is he going to take him to the Gulash? No, that's the what's in Russian? The goulash.
The goulash. Same difference.
Well, he's Russian. That's why I say that.
Oh, okay. DeBauer is
no. Gulash.
What the fuck are you trying to say here?
DeBauer's Russian.
Okay, let's keep this moving. He's going to take him to the goulash. South Florida is going to pull the upset against Alabama.
Saban's Russian.
Yeah, Saban is Russian. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go.
No, I think that game's intriguing, Nick.
It belongs to be in the top 30 because I do think we want to see how Bama under DeBauer looks. He starts off with Western Kentucky and then USF here. This game was 3-3 at the half last year, surprisingly. So it belongs to be played in the top 30.
Yeah, Galesh could take a major step forward this year, and they got their stud quarterback, Byron Brown, fantasy all-star.
All right, folks, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on a player stat, like points and rebounds, assists, all that stuff, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix. This is what I love. You can mix sports. You can throw in a baseball or an NHL or whatever. With your play for the NBA, you can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog's available in 30 plus states, including California and Texas, and even Canada. So get on over there, check them out, and once again, make sure you sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN. Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's right, Underdog Fantasy promo code TCE SGPN. All right, we are back on the college football experience, and NC Nick on the clock.
All right, here's where we play Troy at Memphis. Yeah, granted, it would have been better if John Summerall wouldn't have left Troy. But bottom line is that Troy's won the Sun Belt 2 years in a row, and Memphis is probably the favorite to win the AAC. And this game matters because with the Big 12 rating the AAC a couple years ago, now you have like at least three conferences kind of vying for who is the best G5 conference. I say the Mountain West probably has that crown right now, but maybe the Sun Belt could surpass the AAC and come into second.
Woo! He's funny.
God, my eardrums.
He's funny.
Am I wrong? You're telling me the AAC is that much better than the Sun Belt?
Well, we'll see in week 3 when your little pussy little App State Mountaineers come into Greenville.
We saw last year in Boone.
Yeah, and you won in Boone, okay, but now you got to go to Dowdy. All right, get rowdy. All right,
Yes, admit it. You want ECU to be in the Sun Belt.
They would fit in the Sun Belt.
That'd be great.
They would fit in the Sun Belt, but the AAC has some powerhouses that I think you sleep on, buddy. And one of those is the Memphis Tigers. And they're going to get it done against these Troy Trojans. With Gerard Parker's their new coach. Memphis is going to run them. Liberty Bowl, great stadium.
A powerhouse. Patty calls Maryland a powerhouse. Who's the next powerhouse? Northern Illinois.
I'm sorry, Memphis is better than Maryland. If the Big Ten, if you could tell,
you've been hating on Silverback for like 5 years now.
But still, before that it was Norvell. Before that it was Justin Fuente. Like they're a better program than Maryland. Memphis is a better program than Maryland.
That's not. I would argue that's true. Yeah, I would agree with you there. Slightly. But,
see, there we go. There we go. Let's go. I like the game. Troy at Memphis. It's
honestly, it's wildly underplayed at number 25 in terms of win total, combined win totals of last year. It's number 3 of all the games this week, only behind Texas, Michigan,
And
and
Liberty, New
New Mexico.
State.
21 combined
Mexico
wins
State.
between these two teams. Yeah, New Mexico State.
Yeah, I like to play. I like to play. All right, enough of this shenanigans, folks. We're going to the desert. Mississippi State. They're heading to Tempe.
It's about time.
Look, Kenny Dillingham, I thought I questioned the hire. I didn't know if it made sense. But as the season went along, I was kind of impressed. I know they still suck. They sucked. But I thought I saw flashes of teams that were fighting for him. And with Mississippi State, obviously, they bring in Jeff Lebby. It's game 2 for him. I think this is an interesting matchup because two programs that we don't know really what the fuck is going on right now. Give me Mississippi State heading to the desert to take on the Sundowns. Another Big 12 play for Dundee. Score. All right, Nick, your thoughts?
It does need to be played, and for some reason, Mississippi State keeps on scheduling these Arizona schools. I mean, they beat Arizona last year. I think they played them in Arizona the year
they
before
beat them
that.
2 years in a row. Yeah.
Yes, every year Mississippi State's playing the Arizona schools for some reason. It's hard to sell this game as a lot of interest because both teams I don't expect to be very good this year, but I know Dillingham is eyeing a bowl berth.
And Jaden Rashada was a big time recruit for them last year. Got injured early.
And look, I mean, Arizona State's out of conference schedule. Wyoming, Mississippi State, and Texas State. There's not really any gimmies on their
Texas State too.
Yeah, there's really not any gimmies on their entire schedule. So if they want to go bowling, they have to win at least probably 2 of these out of conference games. So, and obviously Lebby wants to get off on a good start too. So yeah, it's a decent game.
Patty C, your thoughts?
I would say Mississippi State going out to Arizona is the best they can do to imitate the other teams in the SEC going out to play New Mexico and New Mexico State every year. It's just like, all right, we're going to try and take that approach.
Desert ball.
We still have to play Power 4 football teams.
We're going to go in that general direction.
Yeah, that's right.
Where are you going, Patty C? We got to speed it up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us to a game I've been eyeballing, but reluctant to play. It is South Dakota. It's an FCS versus Power 5. It's a regional game. South Dakota travels to Wisconsin. That's a 10-3 South Dakota team last year versus a 7-6 Wisconsin team. The Dairy Raid still yet to be proven to be effective yet. So South Dakota has upset potential.
Wow, off the reservation here.
No pun intended. Come on.
Patty C is really going hipster on us, isn't he? He's really trying to outdo you, Colby.
I'm sorry, Georgia Tech, Syracuse ain't fucking moving the needle that much for me.
I did not see this one being played necessarily, but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be. The only thing I'll tell Patty C is that could Fickle lose this game?
He could. South Dakota's been a solid football team. They've been stuck behind the other 2 Dakota powerhouses, but they themselves are a pretty solid program.
Nick, your thoughts on South Dakota at Wisconsin?
I think this is going to be like 50-7 or something. I mean, I'm not watching this.
All right. I mean,
I hate you both.
NC Nick, final pick. Where are you going?
I mean, it's tough to go between these couple of local games here, but I'll go Charlotte 49ers at UNC. Biff Poggi.
Yes.
Is he going to put Charlotte football on the map? I mean, even I think he has to at least play him close. If you're going to play UNC close, this is the year. Who knows what they're going to look like as far as their quarterback or the offense. So I think this is an interesting matchup. Can Charlotte keep it close is the question.
I like it.
All of both of your credibility is lost for getting hyped for a 3-9 shit ass Charlotte.
Well,
team.
you're not buying it. What did Biff Poggi do to you, buddy?
Look, he did nothing. He did nothing to anyone. He lost.
Did you go to a football camp in Maryland when I know he's from Maryland. So what did he stuff you in a locker?
He put me in a headlock with that fucking nasty cutoff shirt.
I was very close to taking Colby's boys in Greenville, but I don't want to steal thunder. Maybe that's his last pick.
North Carolina is going to steamroll fucking Charlotte. This game sucks.
Oh my gosh. North Carolina doesn't beat Florida A&M almost beat them 40 players out.
Patty C is really hitting on Charlotte. I like where this is going.
I'm
not buying in.
All right.
Patty C's a hater. I like it.
All right, NC Nick, you want to have some fun?
Do it.
Whoa, sorry.
Play that song. We know where he's going.
It's been a fun little story, Patty C.
What we got?
You're wearing your little purple hat.
Wait, this is the game you're gonna play?
Gardner Webb is gonna beat James Madison at Bridgeport.
Please delete this.
All right.
Hey,
Boiling Springs
Noah,
is gonna be a rocking. All
quit
right.
this right now.
Gardner Webb is gonna upset JMU week 2 at Bridgeport Connect Stadium. You're gonna wish you were dead in that fucking lake that's right behind there, right? Gardner Webb is an FCS playoff team from a year ago. Watch out! Don't let the running Bulldogs get hot, buddy.
A 7-5 FCS playoff team from last year.
Oh, but look what they almost did too. Did you pull up their schedule? They played some teams tough, buddy.
I'll tell you this: JMU is going to bend Gardner Webb over and have their way for 3 straight hours.
NC Nick, did you caught some Gardner Webb action last year, right?
They're pretty solid, but honestly,
they kept it close with App State for a long time.
Colby is playing this game only because he's afraid to go up to Norfolk.
Yeah,
he's afraid.
I thought that was the game you were gonna go.
He's afraid. He's afraid Ricky Ronnie is about to slap the shit out of his Pirates.
I hear there's rumors on the internet.
So what happened is his hatred for Charlotte. And I said, Boiling Springs is mighty close to Charlotte. They're going to go into Bridgeport Connect and knock off the Dukes.
You're quaking in your boots.
Final play.
For the Monarchs.
Final play. There you go.
I feel like I should go kind of maybe I will play ECU at ODU. I will not. I will play a game that deserves to be played. San Jose State,
that's the one I was originally gonna play. Niamatololo against Air Force. Come on, it's back.
Oh, yeah, we've seen this before.
It's back. San Jose State at Air Force.
Apparently, he won't be running the triple option, just like Jeff Monken wasn't going to run the triple option last year.
He's going air raid too, or run and shoot. I'm sorry, he has a roller.
Niamatololo.
He's got run and shoot.
Yeah, we'll see about that in week 2. I bet halftime of this game he starts going back to triple option. San Jose State should have. You said you
they should have played. They
you would have had them
UNLV.
beating Boise.
I did. I thought they were better last year. Yeah.
So how'd that work? And I know we got to be out. All right, let's get out.
Yeah.
That's a good game though. San Jose State Air Force.
All right, and now before we leave, our Lou Holtz what the fuck game of the
week.
week.
FCS, but we already kind of played some of those.
Yeah.
What the fuck draft?
Well, I don't get
the game that makes no sense that shouldn't be on the schedule.
Well, apparently TCU football is taking a page from TCU basketball, where they're out of conference schedule and they're playing Long Island.
The Sharks. Long Island Sharks are coming into Fort Worth. All right, they hired Rod Strickland and they just took Chicago State's basketball coach Jared Gillian. What are they doing on a football field? They're going to a team that just played in the national championship. All right, my sister's gonna be at this game. She's gonna have ravioli ready for everybody that fucking comes down there. The Sharks are gonna upset the TCU Horned Frogs.
Would not be something.
I should have saved that for Colby.
What are you doing? What do you do? I mean, that's
what do you mean? What am I doing?
What do you think of that game, Patty C?
It's awful. Of course. Fucking. I mean, New York City. That's exactly what this fucking is. Pathetic.
All right.
Shame on you, TCU.
That puts me on the clock for my Lou Holtz. What the fuck game of the week?
Well, I don't get the rain man.
I mean, I'm looking here. I'm just gonna say Georgia shouldn't play in FCS.
Fair.
I mean, that's the one that stands out. Is there another one on here? Okay, no. I'll take you to. There's another one before.
I got one for you. You're probably gonna get this one.
Rhode Island's going to Minnesota. What the fuck is this? I know Rhode Island's not bad. They're not bad in the FCS, but Kasim Hill graduated after 30 fucking years as quarterback of every damn school in this nation. But Rhode Island and Minnesota have no business playing. Rhode Island should be playing UConn or something. It's a stupid game. And as much as I want to shit on the Georgia one, I just think this one is horrible. This is a terrible game. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Rhode Island though 6-5.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
Minnesota 6-7.
But yeah, I just
terrible.
I can't.
Just unwatchable football.
Stupid game. Patty C, where are you going with your Lou Holtz game?
Wrap this one up. We have 0-10 FCS McNeese State going to Texas A&M. One of the stupidest fucking games we've ever witnessed. That is how we will close this week up.
Son graduated a couple years ago. It's been downhill ever since then.
Let's go, McNeese. Get this upset.
This is good. I will lay the 50.
Does
spot.
McNeese still have that coach? What's his name? Oh, geez.
They had what they
He
had.
was at UTSA, right?
No, but he left. He left for Brian Kelly hired him at LSU. Frank Harris? No,
it's
Frank
Martin. No,
Frank.
Nope.
I know who it is. I'm drawing a blank.
McNeese is so bad they didn't even get to 11 games. They just quit after 10. They're like, we're done. Our fucking season's over.
That is a horrible game.
A&M's only 7-6, but yeah, lay 50, lay 60, whatever it's gonna be.
All right, folks, we'll be back next Wednesday. Sports Gambling Podcast coming up next, as well as Moneyline Max. We'll be dropping a college basketball experience episode. So check out all of us at SGPN. So stay tuned as we roll on. But yeah, give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. NC Nicks on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. I see 322 people watching this thing. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, folks. And Weehawk is right that Samford almost beat Florida at the Swamp a couple years ago. So you never know.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Until next time, folks, though, this is the college football experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.